Now, the adventures of Superman. As our story opens today, our scene is the handsome townhouse of Vincent Kirby, member of an old and aristocratic metropolis family. In the rich oak-paneled library of the house, 6 men are seated around a table. In each of their lapels, a white carnation stands out against the dark, conservative material of their business suits. A number of identical newspaper clippings, obviously a reproduction of a photograph of a basketball team, are scattered on the table. Fingering one of the clippings, Vincent Kirby clears his throat.
I call your attention, gentlemen, to this photograph of the Metropolis High School varsity basketball team, which appeared in the Daily Planet February the 24th. You'll note the caption above the picture reads, "Undefeated Metropolis 5 grooming for state championship." The caption below the picture states, "The Metropolis High School basketball team undefeated in 16 games. Winner of the All-City Crown is now pointing for the state championship test at the Armory tomorrow night. The quintet Coach Reed will place on the court includes, left to right, Casimir Pulaski, Michael Kelly, Tony Rizzuti, Phil Kaplan, and Jack Wilson." Now, gentlemen, I call your attention to the fact that of the 5 basketball players named, only one, Jack Wilson, is an American. The rest are foreigners. Doesn't it seem rather odd to you that in a great American city like Metropolis, 4 out of the 5 members of our championship basketball team should be foreigners? Isn't it a little shocking to discover that names like Pulaski, Kelly, Rizzuti, and Kaplan overbalance a good American name like Wilson 4-1?
I think that's a very good point.
Yes, gentlemen, it is shocking. Not only shocking, but disgraceful. Not only disgraceful, but dangerous.
Yes, you're right about that.
Now, as you know, I organized the Knights of the White Carnation, of which you are all members, to fight for the preservation of Americanism and to defend ourselves against the poisonous propaganda of foreigners, whose only desire is to overthrow our democratic government. And I call upon you now to join with me to eliminate such things as this newspaper clipping indicates. Foreigners taking the places of decent American boys.
Just a moment, Mr. Kirby.
Huh? Yes, Canfield?
Don't you think you're going a little off the handle, Mr. Kirby?
I beg your pardon?
What I'd like to say is this. Has it occurred to you that perhaps the reason Pulaski, Kelly, Rizzuti, and Kaplan are on the Metropolis varsity team is that they're better basketball players than my son and yours?
I assure you, Canfield, American boys can play basketball fully as well as foreigners. And furthermore, whether they can or not, I, for one, refuse to stand by and permit our boys, our American boys, to suffer by comparison with foreigners. If necessary, we'll get rid of the foreigners, not only off the team, but out of the school. Now, you got anything to say to that, Canfield?
Yes, I have. To begin with, I can assure you the 4 boys named in this newspaper clipping are not foreigners.
What would you call them?
Americans.
Really? Does Pulaski sound like an American name to you? Casimir Pulaski? I suppose you'll tell me his ancestors came over on the Mayflower.
No, but one of his ancestors, the Polish patriot, General Pulaski, was in this country before your people ever dreamed of coming here. He fought in the American Revolution. If you study the Metropolis Street Guide, you'll find that Pulaski Street was named after him. And another thing. Wouldn't you be proud to have your oldest son enrolled at West Point?
Yes, but I don't see what that has to do with the question at hand, Canfield.
It has this much to do with it. Another famous Polish patriot, a man named Kosciuszko, designed and built the original West Point Military Academy.
I don't believe it.
You're at liberty to consult either a history book or an encyclopedia on that.
I'm not interested in consulting anything. My only purpose
I'm
is to
beginning
see
to understand what your purpose is, Mr. Kirby. When I consented to join your Knights of the White Carnation, I was under the impression it was going to be a group of intelligent metropolis businessmen dedicated to the preservation of the American Constitution and the Bill of Rights. A group that would actively combat the influences of communism, fascism, and all other isms created to destroy freedom of speech, action, and religion.
Well, that's exactly what it is.
I'm afraid not. I see it now as a group of narrow, bigoted men attempting to create intolerance, prejudice, and hatred among different races and creeds. And I see you, Mr. Kirby, as an individual fully as dangerous as Hitler or Mussolini.
How dare you say a thing like that? How dare you?
Unfortunately, it's true, Mr. Kirby. You could easily be another Hitler. This meeting could just as easily have taken place in pre-war Germany.
I demand an immediate apology for those slanderous remarks, Mr. Canfield.
You'll get no apology, Kirby. But what you will get is this white carnation, which I'm ashamed to say I wore even for a moment. You picked a white flower as your symbol because white indicates purity. But all the surface purity in the world can't cover the rotten odor of hatred. And I don't like the smell of it.
Canfield, you've said enough to make it clear that you don't belong here.
You're right, I don't. I'm getting out, Kirby, as fast as I can. But before I go, let me warn you. Not only am I withdrawing from this hate-mongering group you call the Knights of the White Carnation, but I'm going to fight you tooth and nail and expose you on the front page of every decent newspaper in America. Good night.
Gentlemen, please. Now, there's nothing to become alarmed about. Canfield's a fool. Our mistake was inviting him to join us in the first place.
Yes, but now he can ruin everything we planned to do. You heard what he said. He threatened to expose us to the press.
You seem to forget that I own a controlling interest in the Metropolis Daily Sentinel.
Yes, but you don't own the Daily Planet or the Blade or the Ledger. Canfield is a friend of Perry White, editor of the Planet. And the Planet is the most powerful newspaper in the state.
What difference does that make? Are we afraid of anything?
Well, no, but I feel
However, I agree that Canfield might make things difficult for us.
we should have tried to pacify him.
You can't pacify a rattlesnake, Williams. But you can make him harmless by pulling his fangs. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Pull Mr. Canfield's fangs.
How?
Just leave it to me.
What is Vincent Kirby planning to do? How can he stop Charles Canfield from exposing the Knights of the White Carnation? We'll know in a moment when we return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
You know, gang, I don't believe I know a fellow or girl who doesn't get a kick out of following Superman's adventures in the funny papers and listening to him right on the radio. So it's mighty swell that Kellogg's Pep included him in this new series of comic buttons you're all collecting. There he is, big and powerful and handsome, his bright red cape flying in the wind. And all the other pictures of your favorite comic strip characters are just as true to life, from Pat Patton and Tess Trueheart right on through Chief Brandon and Vitamin Flintheart and Judy and Corky. There were 18 new and different comic strip characters and all, you know, and you'll want to have the fun of collecting them all. So hop to it, gang. Remind Mom to keep you stocked up with plenty of Kellogg's Pep. You know, that's the prize package where you get your comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere, but you get one in every package of Pep you open. That's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Pep, the golden toasted whole wheat flakes with that catchy sunshine flavor. Pep, the dish that tastes just as good as it is good for you. So get Kellogg's Pep, gang. That's P-E-P. The Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As we continue now, still seething at the attitude of men he had always considered decent, honorable citizens, Canfield has returned to his home. Parking his car in the garage adjoining the house, walks down the driveway. As he nears the street, a man with his coat collar up around his neck and the snap brim of a felt hat shielding his face steps out of the darkness.
Got a match, mister?
I never carry them. Don't smoke.
You're Charles Canfield, ain't you?
Why, yes.
Cars 17, 22, and 28 proceed at once to 965 Lake Drive. Code 77. Urgent. Cars 17, 22.
Metropolis. Charles Canfield, prominent Metropolis businessman and divot worker, was last night the victim of an armed bandit who stabbed and killed him on the sidewalk outside his residence at 965 Lake Drive.
Can't stop whatever you're doing.
What?
And get down to police headquarters.
Now, look, Chief, I just started.
Don't argue with me. Do as I say.
What about this monkey burglar story? I just
Turn your
began.
notes over to Lois. Turn them over. Let her finish it.
Okay, well, it's all all right.
I just learned that Charles Canfield was murdered last night.
Yes, I know. It came in on the teletype early this morning. Another of those mugging killings.
Yeah, that's what you think.
You mean that's what I think? According to Inspector Henderson's
That's
statement,
exactly why I want you to get down to headquarters. Tell Henderson we want the truth.
The truth about what?
Now, look. Canfield called me at home last night. It was pretty close to midnight. He said he was phoning from a booth in the drugstore.
Yes?
He made a date to have lunch with me today.
I don't get the connection.
He said he had a story that would blow Metropolis wide open.
Great Scott, you...
Canfield was murdered, Kent. And I think...
Now, look, Kent, I've already issued a statement.
I said that Canfield was apparently killed by a stick-up man, a mugger, as he was about to enter his home on Lake Drive. That's all we know at present.
I'm sure it isn't all you know.
Huh? What makes you so sure?
Because even I know more than that.
Yeah, so do I.
Hey, what are you trying to do? trick me into talking?
Inspector, how could you ever dream of such a
We'd
thing?
never do a thing like that, Inspector.
You keep your 2 cents out of this half pint.
Half pint? Bleeping lizard.
Now, look here, Kent. I want to...
Believe me, Inspector, this is all on the level. We have some valuable information, and we're ready to make a bargain. You talk, and we'll talk.
Huh? What kind of information?
Information that may lead to the arrest of the man who killed Charles Canfield.
I don't believe it.
Meaning to imply that I'm not telling the truth? That I'm a liar? Is that it?
Now, take it easy, Kent.
Well,
take it easy. All right. I ought to know better than to try to keep anything from you. Come on up to the crime detection lab, and I'll show you what we've got. Here's the story the way we shape it up. When Canfield's body was found on the sidewalk in front of his house, nothing was missing from his pockets but his wallet. He had a gold fountain pen and a pencil set, a diamond stick pin, and this watch. A watch worth at least $1,000, all of which might add up to one thing.
It wasn't just an ordinary holdup.
Right. Whoever did it wanted it to look like a holdup and grabbed his wallet, but forgot the rest of the stuff.
Or else he got frightened away before he had a chance.
You may have something there, Jim.
We thought of that, but it doesn't gel because the body was discovered by the milkman at 5:30 in the morning. Now, there are only 2 houses on that street. Evidently, nobody walked by after Canfield was knifed, so the chances of the guy being scared off are slim.
Well, then the net of it is you believe it was a planned murder that was supposed to look like a stick-up.
Now, wait a minute. I didn't say anything of the sort. And don't you go printing that, or I'll have you thrown into jail for intimidating an officer of the law.
Who am I intimidating?
Me. Trying to put words into my mouth. Now, all I said
Relax,
was...
Inspector, relax. Strangely enough, I agree with you.
Huh? What about?
I agree with you that Canfield was murdered.
I never said
I know
that.
you didn't, but the information I have matches up with that theory.
Yeah, it fits like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle.
Well, I talked. Now it's your turn.
Now, here it is. Last night about midnight, Charles Canfield called the editor of the Planet, Perry White, from a drugstore phone booth. He made an appointment for lunch with him today and told him he had a story that would blow Metropolis wide open.
Is this on the level, Kent?
Strictly on the level.
Around midnight, huh?
Uh-huh.
The medical examiner figured he was killed between midnight and 1 a.m.
That was after he made the phone call.
That clinches it. Kent, I want to thank you.
Hey, how about me?
Well, you too have pints.
Oh, Inspector, please stop calling me that.
Half Pint Olson, the Demon Reporter.
Hey, you too?
Now, I can't fool around. I've got to go to work. And, Kent, you won't blast this on the front page until we get our teeth into it, will you?
Of course not.
I will, unless you cut out that half pint stuff.
You know what I'll do to you.
What?
And now, look. All joking aside, this is a serious matter. Canfield, as far as we know, didn't have an enemy in the world. He was well-liked, respected, and one of the leading businessmen of the city. He was chairman of the community chest, president of the Chamber of Commerce, on the hospital board and the board of charities, and one of the directors of the Metropolis Trust Company. A wealthy, solid citizen who never had a word of scandal attached to either himself or his family. In fact, he never even got a ticket for parking. And yet someone hated him enough to murder him in cold blood.
That doesn't make sense. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe it was still just a stick-up man who didn't have brains enough to take the watch and the rest of the stuff.
I doubt it, Jim. No clues on the body, Inspector? No indications to where Canfield had been?
Nothing we could find. Outside of personal effects, all he had in his pockets was this newspaper clipping.
Oh, let me see it. Hey, looks like a clip from the Planet.
Oh, it is. It's my story.
What?
Your story?
Yeah, I write the high school sports news, you know.
Oh.
This is a story I did yesterday on the Metropolis High basketball team. See, here's a picture of the team. They play the first round for the state championship tonight at the Armory. They're a cinch to win.
Now, why would Canfield be carrying a clipping about a high school basketball team?
Yeah, you've got me. But I don't think it's important one way or the other.
I'm not so sure about that. Jim,
Yeah?
say the Metropolis team's playing at the Armory tonight?
Against Cedar Falls. And they'll win in a walk. With Pulaski and Kaplan and Rossetti.
Did you get tickets for the game?
Well, what do I need tickets for? I sit in the press box.
Oh. Well, is it all right for me to sit there?
Oh, sure, it's all right. You really want to go?
Uh-huh.
Hey, what's on your mind, Kent?
I'll tell you after I see the game, Inspector. Let's go, Jim.
Oh, here are things, Mr. Kent. Pretty good, huh?
Well, Jim. Hey, quite a turnout here tonight.
Yeah, full house.
You figure Metropolis can't lose, is that it?
Oh, not a chance. Pulaski and Kaplan are crackerjack forwards. Jack Wilson's the best center in the state. And when it comes to guards, Michael Kelly and Tony Rizzuti are top.
Oh, here comes one of the teams.
Oh, that's Cedar Falls.
Hey, they look big and fast, Jim.
Oh, sure, but we'll take them. You know, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Hey, look at them snap that ball around. Not bad at all.
Oh, wait till you him in from mid-court. He's terrific. Say, by the way,
Yes?
how come you wanted to see this game tonight? I meant to ask you.
I like basketball.
Oh, go on. That's not the reason. You got some kind of an idea. Something you don't want to tell me, huh?
Not at all, Jim. It's just
Well, here comes the Metropolis team.
Oh, yeah.
That's Jack Wilson. He's captain and center, running in front with the ball.
Looks like a good man.
Yeah. And the next one... Hey, that's funny.
What's the matter?
Oh, that's not our team.
Not your team.
No. Except for Jack Wilson, none of our first-team players are on the floor.
That's so?
Yeah. Those guys on the floor are all subs.
Maybe the coach decided to start the second team.
No. He gave me the starting lineup this afternoon. There's something wrong, Mr. Kent. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure something's gone wrong.
Worried and puzzled, Jimmy Olsen and the huge crowd in the armory roar out in protest. But only one member of the Metropolis High first team takes the court for the championship game. What does this mean? We'll find out in a moment when we return for the startling climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
You know, gang, it's a good idea now and then to check over your collection of comic buttons in that new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep and see how you're coming along. Because you won't want to miss out on a single one. No, sir. You'll want Tess Trueheart and Goofy and Beezy and Superman and all the rest of those 18 new and different comic buttons. What's more, you wouldn't want to miss the excitement of trading duplicates with your pals. And you're mighty proud to wear your collection pinned on your jacket or your dress or your cap because they're so doggone smart looking, bright colored and gleaming as anything. And you know, the best part is these Pep comic buttons are so easy to get. You don't have to send in a single penny, not even a box stop. And you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is to make sure that Mom keeps you supplied with Kellogg's Pep. Because there's a comic button inside every package of Pep you open. And is there a load of good eating in a package of Kellogg's Pep? Pep looks so doggone golden and inviting that, well, you can hardly wait to start right in. And your first spoonful of these sunny whole wheat flakes tastes so good, you settle right down for a real session, believe me. So ask Mom to get P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Clark Kent, Jimmy Olsen, and a capacity crowd in the armory have been startled to see the Metropolis High basketball team take the floor for a championship game with a quintet consisting of 4 substitutes and 1 regular. Puzzled, Jim turns to Kent and says,
The coach told me just this afternoon that he's starting the first team. Now this setup with 4 subs has me worried.
That seems strange, Jim. Considering that this is the opening game for the state championship.
Yeah. That's why I'm sure something's wrong.
Yeah?
We won't have a chance against Cedar Falls without our regulars.
Must be some explanation, Jim. Oh, wait a minute. Here it comes. See, there's a man walking out on the floor with a public address microphone. See?
Where?
Over there.
Oh, yeah. That's Coach Reed.
Oh?
He teaches science, too. I had him when I went to Metropolis.
Oh, did you?
Have your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're all wondering why 4 members of Metropolis High's team are not on the floor tonight.
You said it.
I have been asked to announce that the reason for the absence from the floor of Tony Rizzuti, Casimir Pulaski, Bill Kaplan, and Michael Kelly is that they have been suspended from the team because they are suspected of having dealt with professional gamblers.
What?
Uh-oh, there's your answer, Jim.
Answer, not lie.
Take it easy, Jim.
But I know those fellas. I know every one of them. They wouldn't have anything to do with gamblers if it killed them.
Coach is trying to quiet them down.
That can't be, Doc.
Oh, this crowd is really angry.
I don't blame them. Metropolis hasn't had a championship basketball team in 10 years. Now that we've got one, look what happened. I'm going down to find out about this.
Now, wait a minute, Jim. Down where?
Down in the court. I want to talk to the coach. There's something wrong.
Oh, wait, Jim. You'll never get through that crowd. I'll go with you.
But there were packed close in that aisle.
Yeah. I don't like the looks of this. Angry crowds can get out of hand, and before you know it, people are hurt.
Could be.
I've seen it happen. You know where you're going?
Yeah, we've got to go under the grandstand to get to the court. I think it's this way.
Jim, wait.
What's the matter?
Something's wrong.
What?
Great Scott.
What is it, Mr.
Get to a phone quickly, Jim. Call the police emergency squad.
But
Don't ask questions. Hurry, Jim.
Okay, but...
Hurry. It's a matter of life and death. Gotta get rid of him somehow. One of the steel girders supporting the grandstand is beginning to bend and crack from that stamping. Off with these clothes. This is a job for Superman.
Leaping up into the air, Clark Kent, now miraculously transformed into the broad-shouldered figure of Superman, straddles the weakened steel girder supporting the grandstand and braces the center of it in hands that grip the cold metal as though it were held in the jaws of a vise. Straining every muscle in his powerful body, the veins in his neck standing out like whipcord, he literally supports the entire grandstand as it sways under the weight of thousands of screaming, stamping human beings, none of whom are aware of the danger they are in.
This girder snaps, they're doomed. I've got to hold it until the police arrive and quiet them down. I've got to.
Suddenly, off in the distance, Superman hears the eerie wail of police car sirens drawing closer and closer. In a matter of moments, the doors of the huge armory are thrown open, and squads of emergency police swarm in. Soon the mob is quieted. An announcement is made that the game has been called off, and under police direction, the crowd files out. Not until then does Superman release the weakened girder and drops to the concrete floor beneath the grandstand. 5 minutes later, now somewhat recovered from the terrific strain, he hears Jimmy Olsen's voice calling to him.
Uh-oh. We get back in the Kent's clothes in a hurry.
Hey, where are you?
Over here, Jim. Under the grandstand.
Oh, I was wondering whether you'd still be here.
Oh, I've been here all the time.
Hey, what happened to you?
What?
Oh, golly, you look like someone put you through a ringer.
Do I? Well, I guess I was worried for a while. That steel girder was pretty weak.
What steel girder?
That one up there supporting the grandstand. That's why I told you to get the police to clear the crowd out.
Ethan Lizards, we better report it.
I will. Did you find the coach?
No, but I talked with Jack Wilson. He's the team captain.
Oh?
The only one of the regulars left on the team.
Uh-huh.
He said he has something to tell me. He's getting dressed now. We'll meet him outside and take him back to the office.
Okay.
There's a story behind all this, Mr. Kent, and I've got a hunch it's a good one. Come on. Tell Mr. Kent and me the story now.
Well, there isn't much to tell, Jim. We were all sitting around the dressing room waiting for our chance to warm up on the court when Coach Reed came in. He looked kind of white and scared. He pointed to Tony and Cass and Kaplan and Mike Kelly, and he said, "You four aren't playing tonight. You can get dressed and go home."
No explanation, Jack?
No, sir. And when Tony asked how come, he said he couldn't discuss it. To get dressed and beat it.
Well, those poor guys must have gone nuts.
Oh, they couldn't say anything. They were like they were struck dumb. So I said something. I said I wasn't going to play either.
Good boy.
Then the coach took me aside and said I had to play for the sake of the team. He told me he got orders from the principal to throw the fellas off the team.
From Mr. Radin?
Yeah.
You mean Mr. Radin told the coach to bounce those four off the team?
No, it wasn't really Mr. Radin. He got orders from somebody else. A man named Mortimer.
Well, who's he?
I know, Jim.
Who is he?
Henry Mortimer, chairman of the school board.
Well, what's he got to do with the basketball team?
That's what I want to know, Jim. And I'm going to find out tonight. Sorry to bother you at this time of the night, Mr. Mortimer, but as chairman of the school board, you should be able to answer a few questions and perhaps issue a statement.
I have nothing to say at this time, Mr. Kent. If you wish to interview me, I suggest you call my office in the morning and arrange an appointment with my secretary.
Oh, so that's how it is.
Yes, Mr. Kent, that's how it is. Now, if you'll excuse
Just a minute. You were the one who issued the order suspending Rizzuti, Kaplan, Pulaski, and Kelly from the Metropolis High School basketball team, right?
I informed the principal of the school that the young men in question were to be temporarily forbidden to play.
Why?
Because of evidence that they were in collusion with professional gamblers.
Where's the evidence? I want to see it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kent, but you can't see it.
Because it doesn't exist?
How dare you? If you don't leave at once, I'll call the police.
No, I'll leave. But before I do, let me tell you something. You were directly responsible for making a public statement to the effect that 4 high school students were involved with gamblers. You as much as branded them as crooks. You informed the thousands of people who were at the armory tonight and the millions more who will read about it in the papers that those 4 boys are dishonest and not to be trusted.
I did no such thing.
There are laws against slander, Mr. Mortimer, particularly criminal slander. People have gone to jail for what you've done, but that's not the worst of it. You may have heard that last night a man named Charles Canfield was stabbed and killed on the street outside his house. I have a faint suspicion that there's a connection between his death and the dismissal of the 4 basketball players.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Perhaps not, but let me warn you. I think you're getting yourself mixed up in something dangerous. You may be the next one to end up with a knife in your back.
Pointing an accusing finger at the chairman of the Metropolis School Board, Clark Kent watches the nervous, frizzy little man turn ghastly white. We'll learn what happens in a moment, so keep listening.
You know, one of the exciting things about collecting those swell comic buttons in the new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep is that you already know the characters. Sure, you've been following their doings in the funny papers for ages. So when you get a button with Chief Brandon's picture on it, for example, well, it's sort of like meeting up with an old friend. And the same goes for Brenda Starr and Superman and all the rest of the 18 different funny paper characters. And that's one reason why you won't want to miss out on a single one. And another reason is the fun of trading duplicates and wearing these smart-looking pep comic buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or your cap. So you better get busy. Make sure that Mom gets you some more Kellogg's Pep over the weekend, because that's the only way you can get these comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. They're Pep's exclusive prizes. And Pep's the cereal to make breakfast something terrific, too. Those tender whole wheat flakes are crisp and fresh and full up with catchy sunshine flavor. Mighty good and mighty good for you. Just the thing to warm up your appetite on a frosty morning. That's P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Frightened by Clark Kent, who warned him that he might end up with a knife in his back, Henry Mortimer, chairman of the Metropolis School Board, lost no time in contacting Vincent Kirby, the man who instructed him to suspend the 4 high school basketball players. As we continue now, it is almost midnight. Kirby has just ushered Mortimer into the study of his sumptuous town house. He closes the door behind him.
All right, now. What's so important that made you think it necessary to get me out of bed in the middle of the night?
A man named Kent came to see me. He's a newspaper reporter.
The Daily Planet.
Yes. He said I was guilty of criminal slander in accusing those 4 boys of dealing with gamblers.
And you believed him?
That wasn't all. He said that I was getting mixed up in something dangerous. And he warned me that I might end up with a knife in my back like Charles Canfield.
What? What's that?
He said...
Never mind, I heard you.
Kirby, you know I didn't want to do it. You know I didn't agree with you when you said those boys were foreigners. But you forced me to do it. You said I'd lose my appointment if I didn't, and
now you're getting cold feet, is that it?
I don't want to get mixed up in anything.
Yeah, you don't want to die with a knife in your back.
Please don't say things like that.
I should have known better than to get mixed up with a chicken heart like you.
Please, Mr.
Stop
Kirby.
whining. You're perfectly safe. Nothing's going to happen to you. Tomorrow you can make another announcement. Put the 4 dirty little foreigners back in the team. And now I'll handle this myself in my own way. And in case Mr. Clark Kent calls on you again, you might tell him that he won't look very...
Any word from Mortimer yet, Mr. Kent?
No, not yet, Jim.
Gee whiz, the game with Cedar Falls goes on tonight. If Rizzuti, Kaplan, Pulaski, and Kelly can't play, we'll get stung.
I know, but...
That'll be awful. This is the opening game for the state championship.
Look, Jim, there's something far more important than a game involved. It's that those 4 boys are accused of conspiring to throw a game. That's a criminal offense in this state.
Jeepers, you mean they may go to jail?
They're proved guilty, they will.
But they're not guilty. I know them. They're swell guys.
I know, Jim.
You heard what Coach Reed said, too.
Yes, but
and
that
Mr. Radin, the principal of Metropolis High. He doesn't believe it either.
Neither do I.
I tell you, somebody's trying to frame him, that's what.
That may very well be, Jim. But Mr. Mortimer, chairman of the school board, said he has evidence that the boys were in the pay of gamblers.
Oh, yeah? Well, where is his evidence?
Well,
why doesn't he come up with it?
Take it easy. Mr. Mortimer promised to complete his investigation today. And either produce the evidence or withdraw the charges against the boys by 6 o'clock. So you just...
But it's almost 6 now.
I know.
10 minutes of.
All right, now relax. Mortimer will issue a statement one way or the other. You can depend on that.
Well, I can't see what's holding him up. The game starts at 8:30, and without Tony and Cass...
Jim, get a load of this.
Huh? What, Beanie?
This flash just came over the city wires. Here, read it for yourself.
What's up, Beanie?
Oh, hello, Mr. Kent. I didn't notice you.
That's all right. What's all the excitement about?
Sleeping lizard.
Ain't that something, Jim?
Listen to this, Mr. Kent.
What?
Henry Mortimer, chairman of the school board, announced today that following a complete investigation of bribery charges against 4 Metropolis High School basketball stars, he has found the evidence inconclusive and is immediately reinstating the 4 athletes.
Hey, that's wonderful, Jim.
Oh, ain't it so? Now we can't lose tonight.
You said it. Boy, am I happy.
Good news, all right. Hey, you better get that flash to the city desk right away, Beanie.
I'm on my way. See you, Big Yankee.
You bet.
Well, there you are, Jim.
Yeah. But I'll bet Mortimer wouldn't have worked so fast if you hadn't put the heat on him, Mr. Kent.
Oh, I don't know. But I do think he should have made a more careful investigation before he suspended the boys, though.
He sure should have. Wait.
Just a moment, Jim. That's my phone. Hello? Jim Olson? Yes, he's right here. Just a moment, please.
For me?
Uh-huh. Somebody who sounds excited.
Oh. Hello, Jim Olson. Who? Oh, yes, Mr. Reed. Listen, we just heard about Mr. Mortimer clearing... What? You have? Oh, I see. Oh, sure I can. You bet. I'll be right over. And I'll bring Mr. Kent along. Right away. So long.
It's all excitement, Jim.
Well, that was Mr. Reed. You know, Metropolis High coach.
Yes?
He said something just happened.
What?
A terrific story. He wants me to come right over to his house and to bring you along.
Oh, what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Why is your face all cut and bruised, Mr. Reed? You look like you were in a fight.
Well, I was, Jim.
You were? Well, who with? Why didn't...
Hold it, Jim. Hold it. Mr. Reed asked us out here to listen to a story, not to ask questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I've got a story, all right, Mr. Kent. A terrific story. Go right ahead. Spill it. We're all ears.
Yeah, shoot.
All right. Earlier this evening, I was just sitting down to supper when the bell rang. I went to the door, and a man was standing there, a tall, wiry fellow with a sallow face and sharp, glittering little eyes. As soon as I opened the door, he stepped in.
Dick Reed, coach of the Metropolis High basketball team, ain't you?
Yes, who are you?
Just call me Joe.
All right, Joe. What do you want to see me about?
About the game tonight.
Oh, what about it?
Let's close the door. That's better. Now, I just heard those 4 kids, the ones who were suspended last night, got a clean bill of health.
Yes, that's right. What about it?
Just this. I don't want those boys to play tonight.
What's that?
You heard me. Now, it's worth $1,000 to me to keep those boys from playing.
Now, look here, Joe, or whatever your name is.
Wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Don't tell me you can't use $1,000 because I know you get peanuts for teaching high school and coaching basketball.
I'll admit the teaching profession isn't very well paid, but I don't see what...
Reed, don't be a chump. With Pulaski, Kaplan, Rizzuti, and Kelly in the lineup tonight, the suckers figure Metropolis will take Cedar Falls like falling off a log, see?
What suckers?
The betters. They're breaking their necks for a chance to bet 3-1 on Metropolis.
Oh.
And I'm taking those bets, see? So you can make yourself $1,000 by making sure Cedar Falls wins.
So that's it, huh?
Yeah. Simple, ain't it? All you got to do to keep those 4 kids out of the game is to say you're not satisfied their reputations are all clean, or they're too jittery after what just happened to play good. Get it?
Yeah. Yes, I get it, all right.
Well, what do you say?
Beat it.
Now, wait a minute.
You heard me. The door's open, so get out before I throw you out.
Don't be stupid.
Get out, I said, before I lose my temper. I happen to like athletics, but I don't like crooked gamblers who try to dirty it up.
Okay, stupid. If you don't want to play ball with me, I'll have to really get tough, and that'll be...
You can't bluff me, you cheap crook. Get out.
You're asking for this, boy. Now I'll kick it what you want.
And then he whipped out a knife and went after me with it.
Gee, where's a knife?
Yes. Fortunately, I managed to beat him off, and he ran down the steps and disappeared in the dark.
Well, did you report this to the police?
Not yet, Mr. Kent.
You've got to do so at once. You're in danger.
No, I don't think that fellow will tackle me again.
You can't be sure, Mr. Reed. What's more, I think those 4 players, Rizzuti, Pulaski, Kelly, and Kaplan, are in danger, too.
I think Mr. Kent's right.
Hey, I didn't think of that.
Look, where are the boys now?
Why, they're at home. No. Now, wait a minute. It's 7 o'clock. They'll be on their way to the high school. We're to meet there at 7:15 and drive to the Armory.
Uh-oh.
Jim, get Inspector Henderson on the phone.
Okay, Mr. Kent.
Ask him to send a police escort to Metropolis High. We'll escort Mr. Reed to the school, and the police can take over from there. Hurry! As Jim goes out to contact the police, Coach Reed's late opponent, Joe, is walking up a dark street near Metropolis High School. The husky man wearing a shabby overcoat and cap.
That dirty Reed, he almost broke my arm.
He was stuffed, you, huh?
Yeah, but I'll fix him. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
What do you mean? If he lets those 4 kids play tonight, Metropolis will win.
Oh, no, they won't, Fargo.
Sure they will. Those kids are good.
It won't matter how good they are. Wait a minute, hold it.
Huh? What you stopping for?
This is where we stand and wait. See that apartment building across the street?
Yeah. What about it?
Just keep your eyes open and do what I tell you. And Metropolis will lose tonight sure as shoot.
All eyes glittering in his sallow face. Wiry Joe crouches in the dark shadows with his companion Fargo. How does he plan to make certain that Metropolis High will lose tonight? We'll be back in a moment to find out. So stand by.
Say, here's something about that new series of comic buttons that now come in packages of Kellogg's Pep that's sure to make a hit with you. You'll have these Pep comic buttons a long, long time because they're enameled on real sturdy metal. And those bright colors are long-lasting, too. Why, you'll want to keep right on wearing those smart-looking buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap so that everybody can see how many you've collected. And as for doggone good fun, why, you can't beat the excitement of trading duplicates.
And you know, each character is straight from the funny papers. There's Pat Patton and Tess Trueheart, Chief Brandon, Vitamin Flintheart, and Judy and Corky, and Superman, of course. 18 new and different buttons and all. So you better get busy, gang. Remind Mom to keep you supplied with plenty of Kellogg's Pep, because these are the prize packages where you get your comic buttons. You can't buy them anywhere, and you don't send in any money, not even a box top. But whenever you open a package of Kellogg's Pep, there's your comic button. And say, think of all that super delicious eating Pep gives you for breakfast. Those good whole wheat flakes are packed with wonderful, catchy sunshine flavor. So ask Mom for P-E-P, the sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
In the shadows of a dark street across from an apartment building, the man called Joe suddenly stiffens and presses the arm of his companion Fargo as two boys emerge from the building and start across the street.
Okay, Fargo, get ready. Here they come.
Hey, you sure they're the right ones, Joe?
Yeah, that's Cass Pulaski and Tony Rizzuti. You know what to do now?
Yeah, just leave it to me. Okay.
Tony, brother. Tony, are you okay?
Yeah, I guess so. How about you?
I don't know. My stomach feels like it stopped a bulldozer.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Where did those guys go anyway?
They ran away. Cowards.
Oh, well, let's get going, Cass.
Oh, boy. I can hardly walk.
Yeah, me too. What have those dirty rats beat us up for anyway?
Search me. Maybe they were muggers.
Nah, I had $2 in my pocket and it's still here. They weren't muggers.
I guess not.
Then why all this?
You've got me. Come on, we'll find a policeman.
No, wait, Cass. We can't tell the police about this, not yet, anyhow.
Huh? Well, why not?
Well, you know. They might hold us down at headquarters asking questions and stuff. We got a game to play tonight, remember?
Say, that's right. I forgot all about the game. I don't know if I can play, though. My stomach is...
You gotta play, Cass. It's the opening game for the state championship.
Yeah, I know, Tony,
They're depending on us, Cass. Phil and Mickey and Jack and Coach Reed. The whole school's depending on us to help win this game and the championship.
Gee, that's right. But I'll bet the coach won't let us play when he hears we were beat up.
Oh, don't let's tell him about it till after the game. Here, come here. I'll brush the dirt off your clothes, and you can do the same for me. Okay?
How will you explain being all bruised up?
Oh, you don't look bruised.
I don't?
No. There. Just clean up your face a little, and nobody'll know a thing.
Say, you don't look beat up either, Tony.
I guess it's because the guy just hit me in the stomach.
Yeah, that's where he got me, too, mostly. Oh, boy, it hurts when I bend.
Yeah, me too. We'll probably be all right by the game time. How do I look?
Okay. How about me?
All right. Come on, let's get going. Game's set to start pretty soon.
The officials are walking out on the floor now. That means the game's going to start.
Uh-huh. Got my fingers crossed for Metropolis, Jim.
I'll relax. I tell you, we'll take Cedar Falls by at least 20 points.
You hope.
You'll see. Here we go. That's Jack Wilson getting ready to jump at center. He's our captain.
Yeah, I know.
And Tony Rizzuti and Phil Kaplan are the forward. Oh, they're the forward? There they go. Come on, team. Attaboy, Jack. Good boy, Phil. Shoot it, Tony. That's it. Tony missed the shot.
Yeah, too bad.
Come on, cover your man, Tony. Pass it down the floor with that guy. Cedar Falls scored first.
Well, don't feel too bad about it.
I don't. We'll get that score back and then some.
Sure.
Attaboy, Jack. Hey, you see him steal that ball and whip it to Phil?
Uh-huh, nice play.
Phil set it up for Tony. Go on, Tony. Shoot.
Tough luck. Tony missed the shot.
See, that's two he missed in a row. What's the matter with him?
No, the Cedar Falls guard had him well covered.
Tony's so fast, he always makes a monkey out of his guard. Cover and pass on and shoot. Pulaski let his man get away from him for a set-up shot.
Yeah, 4-0 favor Cedar Falls.
Come on, gang, let's roll up some score. Boy, look at that fast break, Mr. Kent.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look at that Kaplan boy take the ball off the floor. Look at him go.
Hey, he's terrific.
And how? Now what? He's going to feed it to Tony for the shot. There it goes. Oh, Tony got tapped by his guard. Holy smokes, what is the matter with him tonight?
Seems tired, Jim.
Could he be tired? The game just started.
I know, but he's still...
Stop that shot, Pulaski. Stop it.
Uh-oh.
Gee whiz, that Cedar Falls forward left Pulaski tied to the post. What's the matter with him?
I don't know. He seems rather tired, too.
To nothing. Favor Cedar Falls. I don't... Attaboy, Phil. Isn't that a swell shot, Mr. Kent?
Certainly was. Honey.
6-2 now. Watch it come back. Oh, keeper. Tony and drop the ball. And there goes Cedar Falls with it. And another score.
Our team isn't clicking, Jim.
You said it. Rudy and Pulaski are plenty solid tonight.
Come on, Pulaski!
Cedar Falls forward is making a monkey out of Cass Pulaski.
Certainly is. Got him covered like a tent.
Can't understand it. Pulaski's the best ride in the city. And Tony, look, he missed another shot. I can't understand it, Mr. Kent. Something's fishy.
With exactly 3 minutes left to play, the score is Cedar Falls 69, Metropolis 38.
Oh, boy, we're getting stung. This is awful, Mr. Kent.
It's an upset, all right. Look, Jim. Coach Reed is sending substitutes in for Rizzuti and Pulaski.
About time.
Deciphering number 8 and Peterson number 9, replacing Rizzuti and Pulaski for Metropolis.
Well, maybe these new boys will cut things up a bit.
Too late now. Less than 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
Tony and Cass threw the game away.
Well, they certainly didn't play like stars. Of course, every athlete has an off night occasionally, you know.
Sure, but why do they both have to be off tonight? In the opening game for the state championship.
That's what I'm wondering. Fired from the very beginning.
Another basket for Cedar Falls. Oh, let's go, Mr. Kent. I can't stand any more of this.
Okay, Jim, we'll go to the dressing room.
Dressing room? What for?
I want to see Pulaski and Rizzuti. Come on. Right down this ramp, Jim. Dressing room's straight ahead, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Look, what do you want to see Pulaski and Rizzuti for, Mr. Kent?
What do I want to see them for? Remember what happened earlier this evening?
Earlier this evening?
Yes, when Coach Reed was propositioned to throw the... Uh-oh, what's this?
What?
Something's happened in the Metropolis dressing room. Come on, Jim, on the double.
Breaking into a run, Clark Kent, followed by Jimmy Olsen, races down the ramp to the Metropolis High School dressing room. What has Kent's Superman vision seen through the closed door? We'll be back in a moment to find out. So stand by.
Say, gang, you want to check up on Mom and Dad? Well, then remind them to be sure to give to the 1947 Red Cross Fund. This is the month of their annual drive, you know, and everybody wants to give. You know, it'd be a pretty good idea for you to set aside some of your allowance for the Red Cross, too. They're such a swell organization. They do so much good in your own community. I don't have to tell you how important the American Red Cross is to all of us. So make sure that your whole family gives to the 1947 Red Cross Fund.
Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen have just burst into the Metropolis High School dressing room in the Armory, where Jimmy's eyes widen in surprise as he sees Sergeant Healy of Inspector Henderson's staff and 2 uniformed police officers surrounding 2 pale-faced boys, Casimir Pulaski and Tony Rizzuti.
Oh, Sergeant Healy, what's going on here?
Oh, hello, Kent. We're taking Pulaski and Rizzuti down to see the DA.
What? The DA?
Come on, boys. Get into your street clothes fast.
Well, look, Healy, what's the charge?
Yeah, why you...
Sorry, gents, can't talk to the press yet. Come on, you two. Get a move on.
Yeah, but wait, Sergeant. What do you think?
We'll see about that after you've had a talk with the DA.
Well, now, wait, Sergeant. Can't we talk
Keep
to...
out of this, Kent.
Hey, Cass. Tony, what's this all about?
He says we threw tonight's game, Jim.
That's right. You know us, Jim. You know we wouldn't do a thing like that. Of course you wouldn't. Now, listen, Sergeant.
Save your breath, Jim.
But
Look, Sergeant.
I've got orders to take these 2 boys in, and nobody's going to talk me out of
Well,
it.
nobody's trying.
Well, last year, Rizzuti, you're going to get dressed until we take you in the way you are.
Oh, but wait,
Just one thing, Sergeant, please. Specifically, just what is the charge against these boys? You can tell me that.
All right, Kent. These 2 kids in charge was taking money from a gambler to lay down in tonight's game against Cedar Falls.
Now, wait a minute.
That's a lie.
Yeah, it's a dirty
We
lie.
don't even know any
Of
gamblers.
course not. Why, it's...
Just a moment, Jim. Now, look here, Sergeant. There must be some mistake.
Oh, no, there isn't, Kent. We've got these boys dead to rights.
Baloney. Maybe they didn't play very well.
Wait a minute, Jim. Wait. These 2 boys, together with Kelly and Kaplan, were accused of being in collusion with gamblers yesterday, Sergeant. But the chairman of the school board, after an investigation, gave them a clean bill of health.
That's right.
Oh, yeah? Well, get this, Kent. The school board chairman couldn't get all the dope, but the district attorney did.
What do you mean?
He had to stick up a professional gambler named Jip Monroe this evening. Monroe sang like a canary.
He sang.
What did he say?
Monroe confessed to paying these 2 kids, Pulaski and Rizzuti, $50 apiece to throw tonight's game.
Why, that's not true.
Dirty lie.
Try to make the DA believe that. Come on, get your overcoats on now and we'll get going.
Agnew, you're making a mistake. It's ridiculous even to assume that two boys like Pulaski and Rizzuti would throw the game.
Really? Were you in the Army tonight, Mr. Kent? I mean, to see the game.
Yes, I was.
Well, I was there, too. It was obvious to everyone that Pulaski and Rizzuti were trying to lose.
Oh, nothing of the sort. I had a talk with the boys after their arrest. They told me they'd been ambushed in front of their house this evening by two men and beaten up. Did you know that?
I know.
Well, it happened a short while before the game, and that's why they played so badly.
Well, if that's true, why didn't they report it?
Because they were afraid they wouldn't be allowed to play. They knew the team couldn't win without them.
Very noble.
Oh, now, look, Mr. Agnew, just because you're the district attorney...
I'm sorry if I seem to disbelieve, Kent, but I saw those boys in uniform, and there wasn't a mark on them.
Why, no, there wasn't. They said they'd been beaten only in the solar plexus.
Oh, come now, Kent. Don't tell me you buy that.
Certainly I do.
I'm surprised. A smart reporter like you falling with such a trumped-up alibi?
Well, I don't think it's trumped up. I believe them.
Look, Kent, things like this have happened before. When somebody waves $50 under their noses, kids forget about their reputations and their duty to their school and teammates and grab at the money.
I don't believe that.
Well, I can prove it. Get your hat and come along.
Where?
To the city jail. I've got a little surprise there for you. Let's go. Here we are, Kent. I'd like you to meet Gyp Monroe.
Gyp Monroe? You mean the gambler?
That's the one. Now, listen, Gyp.
What's on your mind, P.A.?
I understand you were taken upstairs a few minutes ago to meet two boys.
Yeah, that's right.
Did you recognize them?
Sure. They're Pulaski and Rizzuti, two kids from Metropolis High.
Are they the boys you bribed to throw tonight's basketball game?
Yeah, they're the ones.
You hear that, Kent?
Yes, but...
You want to tell me what you paid them?
Why not? I give them $50 apiece.
I can't believe it.
That's all for now, Gyp. Let's go, Clark. We'll grab a cab back to City Hall. Well, satisfied now, Kent?
No, I'm not, Mr. Agnew.
But you heard what
Yes, but I think Gyp Monroe was lying.
Ridiculous. Why would he deliberately ask for a jail sentence by confessing a crime he didn't commit?
That's what bothers me. I mean, why he did confess so readily.
Because he knows he's trapped. Mr. Mortimer, chairman of the school board, has some evidence which led us to Monroe.
Mr. Mortimer, huh?
Uh-huh. You see, I've been working a long time to drive the crooked gamblers out of athletics. And when I got the goods on Gyp, I made him realize he'd be smart to cooperate with me.
Look, Mr. Agnew, for my money, this whole mess is a frame-up.
A frame-up?
Yes, I'm convinced those high school boys are being framed.
Oh, now, look,
and I intend to find out why. Let me out here, please, driver.
Oh, wait, Kent. Let me drop you at your house.
Thanks, but I'm not going home.
Where are you going? What's all this about a frame-up? Can't you tell me more?
Not now. I'll give it all to you on a silver platter when it's cooked and ready. Good night. Let's see, where can I change? Oh, this alley is nice and dark. And yes, deserted. Now, off for these clothes. So, the district attorney got his tip to Gyp Monroe from Mr. Mortimer, huh? Well, Mortimer struck me as a pretty sly character if I ever saw one. So I think I'd better check into that. But first, a quick trip as Superman to see Perry White. There we are, all set. Up and away! What brings you all the way out here at this hour? I'll tell you in a minute, Chief. Mind if I come in and close the door?
No, of course not. Come on in.
Thanks.
Now, what is it?
Get into your hat and overcoat. We're going back to town.
Well, what for? It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning.
I know, but you've got to bail a couple of boys out of jail. Their families don't have the money.
You mean those two basketball players?
That's right, Cass Pulaski and Tony Rizzuti. You see, they've been arrested.
I know. Jim Olson's been beating my ear about it on the phone. He thinks they were framed.
I'm pretty sure they're being framed. And what's more, I think I know by whom.
Yeah? Who?
By the same person or persons who murdered Charles Canfield.
Canfield?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you mean?
Remember that newspaper clipping from our paper that was found in Canfield's pocket?
Well, yes, of course. The story about the Metropolis High School basketball team.
That's right. It included a picture of the team. And if you remember on Canfield's clipping, 4 of the players' names were underlined in red ink.
Yes, I remember that.
Wait a minute. Wait, listen. Yesterday, Mr. Mortimer, chairman of the school board, accused all 4 of those boys of being in collusion with gamblers. When I made him admit he didn't have the evidence to back his charges up, he reinstated the boys.
I know, but I
tonight, after 2 of the boys are beaten up so that they can't play well, Mortimer directs the DA's office to an unknown gambler who all too readily breaks down and confesses that he bribed the boys to throw the game.
Hey, that does sound a little fishy, doesn't it?
It sounds plenty fishy, Chief. I think Canfield's story had something to do with what's been happening to the Metropolis High School basketball team, and that he was killed to prevent him from telling it to you.
Oh, wait a minute, Kent. Wait a minute. Isn't that jumping to conclusions?
Well, maybe, but I believe I'm right. And if I am, I'm afraid this business won't stop with the murder of Canfield and the cowardly framing of innocent boys. Meanwhile, you don't want those two boys to spend the night in jail, do you, Chief?
No, of course not.
Oh, grab your hat and coat. We'll run downtown to bail Tony and Cass out. Then I'm going to get to the bottom of this. A few minutes later, as Clark Kent and Perry White start back to Metropolis to bail Tony Rizzuti and Casimir Pulaski out of jail, 6 well-dressed men are gathered around a table in the library of Vincent Kirby's imposing stone townhouse facing the park. In the lapel of each man's coat is a large white Dewey Fresh Carnation. And before each man is a galley proof of the first page of a newspaper. As Vincent Kirby clears his throat, the men look up.
Fellow Knights of the White Carnation, I've called this special meeting to report the progress we've made thus far in our campaign to clear Metropolis athletics of foreigners. And tonight, I show each of you a galley proof of page 1 of tomorrow's Daily Blade, which, as you know, I control. Now, as you see, the headline and main story have to do with the arrest of 2 Metropolis high school boys, Tony Rizzuti and Casimir Pulaski, both of whom are charged with accepting money for throwing tonight's basketball game. However, gentlemen, the work of the Knights of the White Carnation in this affair is far from over. As a matter of fact, this is only the beginning, because our interest is not only in driving a few boys off an athletic team. Our ultimate goal is to drive every boy and girl of foreign ancestry out of our schools. You agree?
Right.
Good. Now, listen to this, gentlemen. I have a surprise plan for which the preparatory work is already done. The foundations are already laid. Tomorrow, we go into real action, and by tomorrow night, every foreigner in Metropolis will be trembling in his shoes.
With cold eyes gleaming and thin, cruel lips curled back from his teeth in a beast-like snarl, Vincent Kirby, leader of the intolerant Knights of the White Carnation, voices his mysterious threat against American boys and girls. What is it? We'll know more in a moment when we return for the startling climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, have you got a favorite among those comic buttons in that new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep? Maybe you like Vitamin Flintheart best. He's kind of comical with his shaggy white hair and shaggy fur coat. Or maybe Brenda Starr, because she's so pretty. Or maybe Superman himself, because he's so doggone handsome in his bright blue jersey and red Superman insignia. Of course, no matter which is your favorite, you'll want to collect all 18 Pep comic buttons in this new series. And you want the fun of trading duplicates with your pals, too. And say, you wouldn't miss the thrill of wearing your Pep comic buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or your cap. So how about asking Mom to be sure to get you some Kellogg's Pep? That's the only way you can get these swell comic buttons, you know. You don't send in either money or a box stop, but inside every package of Kellogg's Pep you open, there's a nifty new comic button for your collection. And what else do you get from a package of Pep? Mighty terrific eating. Why, a bowl of those whole wheat flakes for breakfast gives you a head start on a happy day. And it gives you energy vitamin B1 and good old sunshine vitamin D. And is this a tasty way to take in all that good nourishment? I mean, Pep's terrific. So ask Mom to get P-E-P, the sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As our story continues, it is the next morning. Clark Kent enters Perry White's office in the Daily Planet, where the gray-haired editor who was speaking on the telephone beckons to him.
Now, here he is now. Hold the wire. Oh, Kent, he wants you on the phone.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
Say, where's Jim? Do you know? I want to see him. He was called out to Metropolis High School. Seen something happened out there. Oh. Hello, Kent speaking. Oh, yes, Mr. Reed. Why, yes, I suppose I could. What's up? Jim Olson asked you to call me? What's the matter? Wait a minute, Chief. Trouble? Why, what's happening? Well, what is it, Kent? Hold it, Chief, please. It's already started. Well, yes, I can... Hello? Wait a minute, Coach. Oh, he hung up. Oh, what's happening, Kent? No, wait. Where are you going? The angry mob of students surges forward against the locked door, placing Jimmy Olsen and others who have gone down in danger of being trampled. The crowd is about to throw itself against Coach Reed's door when suddenly there is a great burst of wind, and a figure in blue costume and flowing red cape flashes into the gymnasium above the heads of the milling mob and thuds down before the striking up the door. Wait a minute. Hold everything. What goes on here?
Superman.
Yeah, I'll have to watch you. Stand back, everybody.
Don't let this mob in the
going and listen to me, will you? Wait a minute. Hold it. Now, look. You know this isn't the American way of doing things. Only poor sports and cowards form mobs and take the law into their own hands.
That's telling him, Superman.
How about the team throwing the game?
Now, wait a minute. To begin with, I don't believe Pulaski and Rizzuti threw the game last night.
That's a lot of baloney.
Jim's right. I have reason to believe that the gambler mentioned in the papers lied, and that Pulaski and Rizzuti were framed. Yes, I say they were framed, and I'm going to prove it. Now, for heaven's sake, clear out of here and go back to your classrooms, all of you. Be thankful that nobody was seriously hurt. Come on, Jim, let's go see the coach.
Jim, are you okay?
Oh, sure, Coach.
I was just coming out.
I would have been in a bad way, though, if Superman hadn't showed up just when he did.
Why, it is Superman.
That's right, Coach Reed. Where are the members of the team?
Well, I managed to slip them out to the principal's office against their will, of course, while Jim was holding the fort here.
I see.
Look, please don't get the wrong idea of our students, Superman. They would never have taken part in a riot like this if they hadn't been stirred up by outside agitators.
Outside agitators?
That's right.
Yeah, and those dirty pamphlets.
Pamphlets?
What do you
Yeah.
see?
Oh, just a moment. Wait a minute. I want to know all about this, but I can't say at the moment. Suppose you, Coach Reed, and you, Jim, give Clark Kent all the details. He'll see that I get them.
Well, Jim asked me to phone Kent,
Where
but
is he?
He'll be in the principal's office in a few minutes. So long now. Up and away! What I'd like, Mr. Raiden, is to know more about what started the excitement this morning. Jim and Coach Reed here say outside agitators were involved. Is that true?
So I understand. But I'm sure Mr. Reed can tell you more than I know.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Kent. It all started when...
Excuse me, Jim. Wait a minute. Suppose we let Coach Reed tell us what he knows first, huh?
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Coach.
Well, I was a little late getting to school this morning because the district attorney wanted to see me about this gambling charge.
Uh-huh.
But as I understand it, when the students began arriving, they found two men in front of the building passing out these pamphlets.
And disgraceful things, completely un-American.
Yeah, you ought to see them, Mr. Kent.
I'd like to. Is there one here?
Yes, I've got one here. Take a look at that.
Thanks. Great Scott. Students of Metropolis High, the athletes who sold you out last night and discredited you and your school are foreigners. Foreigners?
Can you imagine
A
that?
dirty lie. Those boys are all good Americans.
Of course they are.
Well, go on. Read what else it says.
Okay. These foreign boys and their families have different ideals from yours. They will do anything for money, and unless they are stopped, they will ruin our great country.
How about that?
Easy, Jim. It's up to you to show them they don't belong in our schools. Don't delay. Act now.
How do you like that, Mr. Kent?
I don't, Jim.
Why, this is the sort of poison that turns Americans against each other.
The dirtiest, most vicious thing in the world.
The most unfair.
Yes, and this is the kind of stuff these fellows were passing out to the students and talking to them, getting them all stirred up against Tony Rizzuti and Cass Pulaski.
Of course, that started the riot.
Naturally.
Students had their hearts set on winning the state championship this year, you know. When these agitators made them believe their 4 stars had sold them out.
And it isn't true, Mr. Kent, believe me. I know all 4 of these boys. I've worked and played with them. And they're swell youngsters, excellent students, popular with their schoolmates.
Fairly obvious to me that a gang of hate mongers are behind this whole thing. They're out to discredit the 4-star players in your team, then use that to discredit all American youngsters of foreign extraction.
Oh, no.
Yes. Much more, I think Charles Canfield knew that and was murdered to prevent him from revealing the identity of the hate spreader.
Jeepers.
Canfield. You mean the millionaire who was found dead the other night?
Yes, you see, just before he was killed, Mr. Reed, he phoned Perry White, editor of the Daily Planet, and told him he had a story that would blow this town wide open.
Oh?
When he was found, he had a newspaper clipping in his pocket with the photograph of the Metropolis High School team, and the names of 4 of the players were underlined.
Say, that's right. I remember now.
The underlined names were those of the 4 boys whom these hate spreaders call foreigners. And now we know the kind of men we're up against.
Not men, rats.
Right, Jim. And unless I miss my guess, they won't stop with Canfield's murder in this one incident. I think they're out for bigger game. That is, to spread hate and violence through Metropolis. We've got to find them and lock them up before they run wild.
You're very right, Mr. Kent. But how can we do that when we don't even know who they are?
Their agents disappeared after passing out their poison pamphlets and starting the riot.
Oh, wait a minute.
Some of the students ought to be able to identify them.
Jack Wilson saw them.
Jack Wilson, captain of the team?
Uh-huh. He's the one who phoned me to come down here.
Where is he, Jim?
I told him to wait in the study room upstairs. Would you like to see him, Mr.
I
Kent?
certainly would.
Very well. If you'll wait a moment, I'll have him sent down here.
Now, tell me this, Jack. Did you get a good look at these agitators?
I sure did, Mr. Kent. Well, that is one of them.
And what did he look like?
Well, he was a tall, thin guy, about 30 years old.
Yeah.
Pale, pasty face, and small, kind of glittering eyes, set close together.
Say, that sounds like a perfect description of the man who tried to bribe me to keep Pulaski, Rizzuti, Kaplan, and Kelly on the bench last night.
The one I threw out of my house.
It does, Coach?
Are you sure? Yes. What's more, he answers the description of one of the two men who beat up Rizzuti and Pulaski before the game last night.
Deepens. Then he's the guy we want.
Right, Jim. This gives us something to start with. Now, look. I'm going over to the district attorney's office and get a search started for this fellow. The rest of you spread the word around school to be on the watch for those men, because it's just possible that they'll show up again.
I'll call an assembly of all the students, Mr. Kent. I'll put this whole matter before them and warn them to notify me if those men appear again.
Well, Mr. Aiden. Jim,
Yeah?
you better stick around here for a while and report progress.
Okay.
But be careful. In fact, all of you be careful. If you see the men we want, report them at once, but don't tangle with them. We know now they're the type of hate-mongering snake who won't stop even at murder. So be careful.
Repeating his warning to avoid danger, Clark Kent leaves Metropolis High School for the district attorney's office, unaware that the man he is about to begin his search for, the tall, thin man with the pasty face and small, glittering eyes, is just emerging from a car in an alley near the school building. That means there's more action ahead in the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, gang, what's more fun than prizes? And what prizes are more fun or as easy to get as those nifty comic buttons in that new series you're all collecting from packages of Kellogg's Pep? First off, it's exciting to see which button is inside every time Mom opens a package of Pep. There were 18 new and different buttons in this series, you know. Old funny paper favorites like Brenda Starr and Cindy and Spud and the Little Moose and Goofy and Beezy and Superman, of course. And say, if you happen to get a duplicate, well, that's even more fun because then you can trade with your pals and you still get a new button for your collection to wear with your others on your jacket or your dress or cap. So get busy, gang. Collect all 18 different buttons in this new series. Just ask Mom to get you some Kellogg's Pep. That's all you do. You don't send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy these prizes anywhere. You just look inside every package of Pep you open, and there's your new comic button. And say, Pep's a prize package for good eating at breakfast, too. Remember that? Crisp and tender whole wheat flakes and fresh as can be. And loaded with that catchy Sunshine flavor. That's the Sunshine cereal, gang. It's super delicious. So ask Mom for P-E-P. The Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As we continue now, shortly after Clark Kent's departure, it is the luncheon period at Metropolis High School. Jack Wilson, center and captain of the basketball team, is sauntering toward Jim Olsen in the schoolyard when Jim calls to him to hurry.
Hey, Jack. Jack Wilson. Come here, quick. What's the matter, Jim? What's cooking? That guy. The one who passed out pamphlets and makes these...
Yeah, what about him?
He just came out of the lunch wagon across the street.
He did?
Uh-huh. He's talking to a couple of the students. See? There he goes now.
God, that's the guy, all right. Come on, we'll tell Mr. Radin and he can call the police.
No, wait. Going down the street now. He'll be gone before we can get help.
Well, what'll we do?
Come on with me. We'll follow him.
But wait, Jim, Mr. Kent...
I know, but we'll be careful. Come on, we've got to see where he goes and what...
Suppose he turns around, Jim.
What if he does, Jack? All you'll see is just a couple of high school kids out for a walk during lunch period.
Yeah, but this guy is bad medicine. He beat up Cass Pulaski and Tony Rizzuti last night. And Mr. Kent says he's mixed up in the murder of Mr. Canfield, the millionaire.
Sure, that's why we've got to follow him and see where he goes. Then we can call Mr. Kent, get the police out, and grab him.
But you heard Mr. Kent say we shouldn't take any chances. To just call him or the police if we saw this fellow.
But how are we going to stop off and call up anybody and still not lose this guy? Tell me that.
Oh, gosh, I don't know, but... Uh-oh, wait. Turning around.
Stop, you dummy. You want him to know we're trailing him? Well, come on. Gee whiz, Jim. Come on, I tell you. He's going on.
Oh, yeah. Boy, my heart jumped right up into my mouth when he turned around.
Relax. I've trailed plenty of bad actors. Guy's just as dangerous as this one. All you have to do is keep on your toes, but not act as if you're trailing. Wait. And across the street. No, don't follow him across yet. Just slow down a little and see where he goes.
Okay. I guess you know all the ropes, Jim.
I know a few. I'm a reporter, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, look. He's going into that alley. Uh-huh. Come on. Gotta go after him.
After him into the alley?
Sure, come on.
Oh, golly, Jim. Frankly, I'm not too keen about following that guy into an alley.
You want to see Cass and Tony cleared, don't you?
Well, sure, but...
Well, the only way we can do it is by trailing this guy. Wait. Hold it, Jack. Now what? He stopped at that car. See? Behind the old lumber yard.
Yeah, I see him.
Quick, duck behind his telephone pole. Can you see what he's doing? Yeah. Getting into the car.
Oh, this is where he loses us.
Try to get his license number.
Can you make it out, Jack? Kind of tough. There's mud on it. Probably put it there on purpose, the rat. I can make out a Y and the number 6. That's all I can see, too. Jeepers, if only he were headed this way, then he'd pass us, and maybe we could get his number.
Oh, he
What do
isn't.
you kids think you're doing?
Huh? Yeah,
Doing a little spying, maybe, huh?
Oh, us? No, we were just...
This is one of the guys who was at school this morning.
Gee whiz.
Come on, break away.
No, you don't stand still or I'll bet your brains out. Stand still, I said. You can't get away.
Okay, we're not trying to get away.
Oh, no.
No, you see...
I caught these 2 kids trailing you, Joe.
Oh, they were, huh?
No, we weren't.
Bring them here.
Right. Go on, you 2. Walk over to that car.
Wait, let go, will you? Relax, Jack. This is what we wanted. Come on.
Ah, you're being smart.
This is bad, Jim. No, it's perfect. We wanted to meet these guys, didn't we?
Huh?
Sure. Didn't we want to get in with them? You know.
What?
Maybe even get to work with them.
Work with them?
Hey, what are you kids talking about?
Well, you see, mister, we like what you said in those pamphlets you passed out at school today. We agree with you 100%, see?
Oh, you do, huh?
Yeah, so we thought...
Wait a minute. Tell it to my friend here.
What's going on here, Fargo?
I don't know, Joe. This freckled character is handing me some line about wanting to get in and work with us.
Is that so?
Yeah, you see, mister, we think...
Get up and get into the car.
Look, mister, we...
Get in, I said, in the back.
Okay, sure, we'll get in. We want to talk to you anyhow. Come on, Jack.
Jeepers, Jim, what'll we do? Just follow my...
I got back with the kids, Fargo. You get in front and be ready for a quick getaway if I give you the word.
Okay, Joe.
Now, look, you kids, I want the truth and fast. What's the idea of following me?
Well, you see, mister, it's like I started to tell your friend. Jack and I heard you talking outside school this morning, and we read the pamphlets you passed out, and we agree with what you said about Pulaski and Rizzuti and the other foreigner basketball players giving us a dirty deal.
You do, huh?
That's right. You see, we...
Hey, wait a minute. Aren't you Jack Wilson, captain of the Metropolis High team?
Oh, yes, I am, but...
Jack Wilson, what are you trying to do? Pull a fast one on me?
Well, no.
Hold it. What's your name, kid?
Me? Jim. Jim Adams.
Adams, huh? That's a good American name.
Yeah, and I'm a good American, all right. That's why I wanted to talk to you, see? Jack and I want to get back at the guys who threw the game last night.
I don't know if you should go for this, Joe. After all, they would...
Quiet, Fargo. I'm handling this.
Okay.
Now, you boys want to get back at the dirty little foreigners who threw the game on you, huh?
We sure do, don't we, Jack?
And how?
Well, maybe I'll give you the chance. Tonight. How would you like that?
Oh, boy, that's swell.
What do you want us to do?
If you're on the level, I'll tell you. Tonight.
Okay. Just say where and when.
Both of you be in Pete's lunch wagon across the street from the school at 8 o'clock. Call you on the phone there and tell you where to meet me.
Can't you, tell us now?
You heard me. I'll phone you at the lunch wagon tonight at 8.
Okay, let's go, Jack.
Wait a minute. Here's a couple of flowers. Wear 'em when you come to meet us tonight.
White carnations. What's the idea?
Never mind the idea. Just do as I say. And if you do a good job, you'll not only get back at those basketball players, but you'll make a little money besides.
Money?
Yeah. Now fade. Be at the lunch wagon at 8 o'clock for my phone call. Don't forget to wear the white carnations when you come where I tell you to.
Oh, we won't forget. Come on, Jack. We'll be there, mister.
Okay. Get going, Fargo.
You think we ought to give your breath for a run, Jack? We've got to see Mr. Kent, and fast. Come on.
What happened then, Jim?
Nothing, Mr. Kent. They drove away, and we came right over here to the planet.
Let's see. You're to be at this lunch wagon at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah. This guy Joe said he'd phone us there and tell us where to meet him.
All right, now get this. When he phones you, I want you to call me at once and tell me where he told you to come. I'll be at the district attorney's office. Understand?
Uh-huh. And you and the DA will meet Joe instead of us,
That's the idea, Jim. Now...
What about these flowers, the white carnations that he told us to wear?
Yeah, what do you think that's for, Mr. Kent?
Oh, they're obviously for purposes of identification. We'll find out more about that later. Now, you boys got everything straight?
Sure. We go to the lunch wagon tonight and wait for Joe's phone call.
Right.
Then we call you at the DA's office, and you and the DA take it from there.
Right. After you call me, you two are to go right to the DA's office and wait there for us. No more going places on your own. Is that understood?
Oh, sure. And how? I don't want to meet those guys again, especially at night.
All right, then. Everything's set for tonight. If all goes well, we'll have those hate peddlers and murderers behind bars by morning. What will happen at the lunch wagon tonight? We'll be back in a moment to find out, so stand by.
Say, you like to have pictures of your favorite friends, don't you? Well, there's one reason why those comic buttons in the new series from Packages of Kellogg's Pep are making such a hit with you fellows and girls. Because those comic strip characters are old friends. You've followed their adventures in the funny papers for a long, long time. So collecting those Pep comic buttons is bound to be mighty exciting. And are these pictures true to life? Chief Brandon looks so dignified and official, and Goofy has that silly grin on his face, and Superman looks as if he's all ready to take off to the skies. Yes, sir, those 18 new and different Pep comic buttons are really slick. You'll be proud to wear them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. So don't let your pals get ahead of you. You keep working on your collection. Ask Mom to get you plenty of Kellogg's Pep. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. And you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere. You just look for one inside every package of Pep you open. And say, look for some downright good eating at breakfast, too, because that's what Pep's famous for. Those good whole wheat flakes are loaded with golden toasted sunshine flavor that makes a hit on a frosty morning. That's P-E-P, gang. The Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As we continue now, it is evening. Jimmy Olsen and Jack Wilson, trying not to betray their nervousness, are sitting at the counter in Pete's lunch wagon across the street from Metropolis High School. There are no other customers, and the proprietor, a stout, bald-headed man, is polishing a coffee urn at the far end of the counter.
Why doesn't that guy phone? Relax, Jack. He'll call. Jim, look. Holy smokes. It's that guy. Joe, what's he doing here? I thought he was going to call us.
Hiya, boys.
Hiya.
I thought you were going to call us.
We decided to come down and pick you up ourselves, telephone it. Let's go.
Go?
Oh, where?
I'm going to give you a chance to get back to those dirty little foreigners who threw the basketball game last night.
Oh, well...
Come on, we're in a hurry.
But you were supposed to call us out.
You heard him. We changed our mind.
Gee whiz, Jim, what do we do?
Come on. What are you stalling for?
Oh, we're not stalling. It's just...
Go ahead. Start walking.
10 minutes past 8, Mr. Agnew. We should have heard from the boys by now.
Relax, Kent. They said they'd call us as soon as this agitator phoned them, didn't they?
Yes, but he was supposed to ring them at 8 o'clock.
Well, apparently he hasn't done so yet. It's my hunch he won't.
Why not?
Well, I don't know exactly. Look, Kent, do you really think there's a hate gang involved in this mess?
I certainly do. I believe they framed the two basketball players and murdered Charles Canfield, the millionaire, to keep him from exposing their subversive, un-American activities.
If you're right, those fellows are very clever, because they fooled me and they fooled Inspector Henderson and the whole police department.
They are clever. Oh, why doesn't Jim call?
Relax, will you, Kent? It's only 8:12.
How can I relax when I know that those hate peddlers are more dangerous than rattlesnakes?
I know, but the boys are in no great danger. I'm sure of that.
Well, I'll wait just a few minutes more. If we don't hear from Jim by then, I'm going out to that lunch wagon.
While Clark Kent anxiously paces the floor of the district attorney's office, a small black sedan carrying Jimmy Olsen, Jack Wilson, and the two agents for the Knights of the White Carnation has traveled across the city and come to a stop in a dark alley behind the huge, unlighted bulk of Metropolis's Benjamin Franklin High School. Commanded by the thin, pasty-faced man called Joe, the two boys leave the car and walk up the alley beside him, while the other man remains at the wheel.
Okay, hold it, kids. Here we are. This is the Ben Franklin High School.
Yeah, I know. What are we doing here?
Not so loud, Wilson. Now, here's what I want you to do. Each of you take a bunch of these handbills. Here.
Huh? Well, what are these?
I told you, handbills, like the ones I passed out of Metropolis High this morning.
Oh.
These are gummed on the back, see? And I want you boys to paste them up in the halls on the students' lockers. Every place where all the kids can see them when they come to school tomorrow.
You mean inside the school?
That's right, Jim.
But what's the idea?
Just this. To get the real American kids sore at the foreigner kids so that they'll get to fighting each other, see?
Jeepers.
Then maybe I can work up a good riot here tomorrow like I did at your school this morning.
But gee whiz.
But what, Wilson?
Oh, nothing.
Look, don't you want to see the dirty little foreigners get kicked around and maybe get so scared they'll quit school?
Yeah,
Shut
sure.
up, Jim. Well, what, Wilson? You getting chicken hearted?
No.
Or were you trying to put something over when you said you wanted to play ball with it?
Now, wait. Don't get us wrong, Joe. It's just that you told us we were going to get back at the guys on our basketball team for throwing the championship game, see? So
that's it. This isn't exactly what we were expecting to do.
I see.
It doesn't hit right at those foreign kids on our team.
Sure it does. These handbills tell how Pulaski and Rizzuti and Kaplan and Kelly threw the game. And they show that no foreigners can be trusted. You get it?
Oh, yeah, sure, but just the same...
See, we want to get all the kids in Metropolis so sore they'll turn on every kid with a name like Pulaski or Rizzuti or Kaplan or Kelly. Then when that happens, your basketball players will be run out of school. Or worse.
Jeepers. Yeah. I get it all right.
Okay, now, as soon as I get this handkerchief wrapped around my hand, I'll break a window and let you into the school. There. All set now. Here goes.
Gosh, Jim, what'll we do?
I don't know yet, Jack. Keep your fingers crossed.
Maybe we should run for it.
No, we wouldn't have a chance.
But we can't go through with this.
No, but we gotta make it look like we are.
But Jim...
Okay, come here, kids, and hurry. Now, here's a flashlight. Now, climb inside and start pasting up those handbills.
Look, Joe, suppose somebody hears us.
There's nobody in the place to hear you.
But what if somebody shows up?
At night, no. But if anybody does, I'll be right out here with Fargo. We'll take care of any nosy guys. Go on, now, get going.
Oh, okay. Come on, Jack.
Yeah. All right, Jim.
Remember, do a good job or you'll be a couple of sorry kids.
I don't like the way he said that, Jim.
Neither do I.
Oh, boy, are we in a spot. If only he'd phoned us at the lunch wagon like he said he would, so we'd have had a chance to call Mr. Kent.
Maybe he figured we might do something like that, so he wasn't taking any chances.
Yeah, maybe. Look, Jim, you're not figuring to paste up those dirty handbills like he said, are you?
Are you kidding? Of course not.
Then how do we get out of this mess?
I don't know. Yeah, I've got to think. Wait.
Hey, how about hiding these handbills someplace, then going back out after a while and saying we pasted them on?
It's too risky. Joe might decide he wants a look at the job. When he sees we double-crossed him, it'll be too bad.
Yeah, that's right. Wait, I've got it, Jack. Come on.
Huh?
Where are you going, Jack?
To the principal's office.
The principal's office? What for?
Well, there must be a phone in there.
Phone? Oh, you mean...
We'll call Mr. Kent at the DA's office, tell him where we are, and then we'll get busy slapping up these handbills until he and the police get out here. We can tear them down later.
Boy, that's a swell idea.
Wait, what are you stopping for? First, we've got to find the principal's office. Well, I throw the light around.
There it is, right across the corridor.
Yeah, come on. Oh, boy, only this works.
It's got to.
Yeah. It's our only chance to trap those hate murderers. And here we are. Oh, gosh. I just thought of something.
What?
What if this door is locked?
Oh, brother.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Here goes.
Hot dog, it's open.
Yeah. There's the phone on the desk. Come on, Jack. Keep your fingers crossed. But hard.
Their hearts beating rapidly, Jimmy Olsen and Jack Wilson hurried to the telephone on the principal's desk to call Clark Kent. Will their plan work? We'll be back in a moment to find out. So stand by.
You know, gang, you can have fun with your collection of comic buttons in that new series from Packages of Kellogg's Pep. Any kind of weather, any day of the week. Both fellas and girls can get a kick out of it, too. For instance, when you meet up with one of your pals, there's that business of comparing notes on how many you've collected so far. And say it's even more fun trading duplicates. You know, like an extra button with Pat Patton's picture in exchange for Tess Trueheart, if you don't have one like that yet. Or the little moose traded for Judy or Corky. Or maybe Brenda Starr for Superman. Yes, sir, for fun and for doggone good looks, these Pep comic buttons are really keen. And they're so easy to get. You can collect all 18 buttons in this new series just by asking Mom to keep you supplied with plenty of Kellogg's Pep. You don't have to send in any money, not even a box stop. And you can't buy these prizes anywhere. But there's a comic button inside every package of Pep you open. And that's only one reason that you like Pep. You get a kick out of Pep's catchy sunshine flavor. That golden toasted goodness that goes so good first thing in the morning. Pep's crisp freshness, too. Yes, you like everything about P-E-P. The sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
In the principal's dark office in Benjamin Franklin High School, Jack Wilson, his hand shaking with excitement, is holding the flashlight as Jimmy Olsen dials the number of the district attorney to summon Clark Kent and the police.
First, hurry up, Jim. Give me a chance. I've got a dial, don't I? Yeah, but... There. They're ringing.
Put that phone down, you little rat.
Who said that? Huh?
Put that phone down. I said her...
Holy smokes, it's Joe.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, careful with that knife.
Dirty little double crosses. I ought to cut your hearts out right now.
What? Look, Joe, we were only gonna...
Yeah, I see what's going on. You were only gonna turn me into the cops, weren't you?
No, see,
Shut
no.
up. Lying won't help you now. Nothing will.
But what do you mean?
Did you think I was so dumb I'd just take your word that you were on my side? No, this was a test. See, I was checking up on you.
But now wait.
Quiet. You're all through talking and all through everything else. Turn around and walk back out to the alley. Go on, walk. And fast.
Small eyes filled with hate, Joe, the tall, thin hate monger, menaces Jim Olsen and Jack Wilson with a long knife as he forces them to turn and walk back to the dark alley. Meanwhile, alarmed at the failure of the boys to call him from the lunch wagon, Clark Kent is streets there as Superman. And as we join him now, he is questioning the stout, bald-headed proprietor, Pete.
They two men called for the boys?
That's right, Superman. Then they all went in a car. I didn't know there was anything wrong.
What kind of a car?
Well, I didn't notice, except it was a dark sedan.
You say one of the men was tall and thin and pasty-faced?
Yeah, that's right.
It was Joe, the man described by Coach Reed and Jack Wilson.
How's that, Superman?
Never mind. I've got to find those boys before something serious happens to them. Thanks, Pete, and good night.
Hello?
Mr. Kirby?
Yes?
This is Joe McMillan.
McMillan, didn't I tell you never to call me at my home?
Yeah, but this is important.
Well, it had better be. Now, what is it?
You know those two kids I told you about? The ones who followed me today and said they wanted to work with us?
Yes?
Well, I found out they're spies.
Spies?
Yeah. One of them who said his name was Jim Adams isn't a high school kid at all. His real name is Jim Olsen, and he's a newspaper reporter.
A reporter? Are you sure?
Positive. What's more, I caught the little punk just as he was calling up the district attorney.
Good heavens, did he complete the...
Don't worry, I stopped him before he could shoot his mouth off.
Good. Where are these boys now?
I got them at my place, and I thought before I do anything, I better check with you.
All right. Stay where you are. I'll be right out.
Okay, Mr. Kirby. So long.
Here's one of them, Mr. K.
Which one is this, Joe?
This is Jim Olsen, a reporter for the Daily Planet.
How do you know?
He had his wallet on him with his identification and press card.
Look, who are you? What's the idea of wearing a mask? You afraid I'll recognize...
I'll ask the questions. Now, why did you pose as a high school student and say your name was Adams? What are you trying to find out?
As if you didn't know.
Answer me.
My answer is you better let Jack and me go. Oh, let go of my arm.
Talk fast and answer the questions, kid, or I'll break your
Let
arm.
go. Ow.
Well, Olsen?
You gonna talk?
Dirty cowards, if I was just a little bigger.
Never mind, talk.
Okay, let go. I just as well know we're on to what you're up to.
Really? This should be interesting. Go on, Olsen. Tell us what made you stick your foolish young neck out.
Oh, I used to go to Metropolis High School. Cass Pulaski and Tony Rizzuti, the two boys who were arrested for throwing the championship basketball game the other night, are friends of mine.
Oh, they are, huh?
Quiet, Joe. Go on, Olsen.
I was sure they didn't throw the game, and the gambler who testified he bribed them was lying. I couldn't figure out why he was framing Tony and Cass. Until this morning.
So? And what did you discover this morning, Olsen?
Well, when I found out that your boy Joe here was around the school passing out pamphlets that smeared Tony and Cass and generally stirring up the students against all others who happen to have foreign-sounding names, I knew then what was cooking.
And you did, huh?
Yeah, because I've seen hate mongers work before. And when I told another Planet reporter about it, we figured out right away that some dirty hate mongers had framed Cass and Tony in order to spread race prejudice among the school kids.
Indeed.
You're a real bright boy, ain't you? Well,
now, wait, Joe. So you and Mr. Clark Kent figured all this out, huh? I presume you mean Clark Kent.
Huh? Oh, no, wait, I didn't say anything.
I know. And I'm reasonably sure you were referring to Mr. Kent because he's made a nuisance of himself before.
No, wait. Mr. Kent didn't have anything to do with this, I tell you. It was all my idea.
Yeah, we'll get to him later. Put Olsen back in the other room with the Wilson boy, Joe. Tell Fargo to watch them. And come back here.
Okay. Come on,
No, wait.
What's the idea of keeping Jack and me here? What are you going to do to him?
You'll find out, you dirty little spy. Now go on, get going.
But now, wait a minute.
Shut up and get in there.
What, you dirty...
Take care of this rat, Fargo.
Hello, Joe.
This isn't so good, Mr. Kirby. This Olsen kid and that Kent guy have got our play all figured out.
Relax. There's nothing to worry about as long as they don't know who's behind it.
But they may have others spying on us. This Kent sounds like a smart apple.
Yes, he's very clever. Too clever, as a matter of fact. Because from something he said to Mr. Mortimer, the chairman of the school board, he even suspects that we murdered Charles Canfield.
Holy smoke.
Now, don't get excited. He can't ever prove it.
But how can he even suspect? Listen, we got to take care of that guy in a hurry. I don't want to go to the chair.
Don't get excited, I said. We'll take care of everything and everybody in due time.
Yeah,
now,
but...
fortunately, we got Olsen and the Wilson boy before they could do any harm. And we're going to make use of them. Very good use of them.
How do you mean?
You'll see. First, I'm going to call up Clark Kent.
Kent? What are you calling him for?
For a very good reason, Joe.
But you don't
Be quiet a minute. Is Clark Kent there, please? I wonder if you could tell me where to locate him. It's quite important. Did you say the district attorney's office?
A district attorney?
Oh, very well. I'll try him there. Thank you. Good night.
Listen, Mr. Kirby,
hand me the phone book, please, Joe.
Oh, wait a
I
minute.
said hand me the phone book, please. I want to look up the district attorney's number. Kent is there with him.
Will you please tell me why you want to talk to Kent when right now that guy is dynamite?
I'll explain everything later. Hand me the phone book.
I'm worried about Jim Olsen and the Wilson boy, Mr. Agnew.
Why, Kent?
Well, because I'm afraid that man Joe is suspicious of the boys, which is why he called for them personally instead of phoning them as he said he would.
Now, look, Kent, according to Olsen's story, Joe said he had a job for them, didn't he?
Oh, yes, but...
Well, when they've done the job, whatever it is, then we'll hear from them.
Well, that worries me, too. What if he
Wait
don't...
a minute. Here's my phone. District Attorney's office. Agnew speaking.
Hello, is Clark Kent there, please?
Yes, just a minute. For you, Kent.
For me?
Now, here.
Oh, thanks. Clark Kent speaking.
Mr. Kent, my name is Davis.
Yes, Mr. Davis?
Two boys were just in my store. They wanted to use the telephone, but both booths were occupied.
Oh?
Then one of them said his name was Jim Olsen.
Jim Olsen?
What about Jim, Kent?
Wait, Mr. Agnew.
Olsen said that he and his friend were in a great hurry and asked me to do him a big favor.
Yes, Mr. Davis, go on.
Well, he asked if I would call you at the district attorney's office and tell you that he and Jack were all right.
Oh?
And not to worry if you didn't hear from them tonight. That they had a hot lead on the basketball frame-up and were following it.
What? Listen, Mr. Davis, where are you located?
Oh, yes. They also asked if you would phone their mothers and tell them not to worry. I think that's all. Good night.
Wait a minute. Where is your store, Mr. Davis? Hello? Hello, Mr. Davis? Hello?
What is it, Kent?
Hello? Oh, he hung up.
Will you please tell me who that was? And what about Jim and Jack Wilson?
It was a fellow named Davis who said Jim and Jack had just been in his store, and since both phone booths were occupied, Jim left after asking him to call me here and tell us not to worry.
Huh?
But he and Jack were following up a hot lead on the basketball frame-up.
Oh, where is this fellow Davis?
That's what I was trying to find out, but he hung up without answering.
Probably in a hurry. Well, Kent, anyhow, it's a relief to know the boys were apparently okay, isn't it?
Not too sure they're okay, Mr. Agnew.
But this fellow just said so.
Yes, but there was something phony about that call.
Phony? What do you mean?
Well, Jim wouldn't go off on his own again that way after I gave him strict orders not to. And my hunch says that he and Jack Wilson are in trouble. Real serious trouble.
Uneasy, Clark Kent frets, the sixth sense telling him that his young friends are in trouble. And as we know, they are. Why did Kirby make that call to Kent? We'll know in a moment when we return to the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
You know, every once in a while, it's a good idea to take stock of your collection of comic buttons in that new series from Packages of Kellogg's Pep and see just exactly how you're coming along. Because you don't want to miss out on a single one of those 18 new and different comic buttons. You want to get right in on that fun that all the fellows and girls are having. And you want to be in there pitching when they're swapping duplicates. You know, these bright-colored buttons really show up when you wear them pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. They're pictures of your favorite comic strip characters like Cindy and Spud and Superman himself. 18 of them in all. Every single one a real humdinger. So remind Mom to keep you stocked up on Kellogg's Pep because that's the only way you can get these nifty prizes. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop.
and you can't buy them anywhere. But every time you open a package of Pep, there's your comic button inside. And there's some mighty swell eating, too. Believe me, Kellogg's Pep is so crisp and fresh. These toasted whole wheat flakes are so loaded with that catchy sunshine flavor that, well, you practically can't resist them. So ask Mom for lots of P-E-P, the sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As our story continues, we return to Joe McMillan's apartment, where Vincent Kirby has just replaced the telephone after speaking to Clark Kent. His eyes wide in shocked amazement, McMillan recovers his voice and turns to Kirby.
Look, Mr. Kirby, what was the idea of that call to Kent? Why did you say you were somebody named Davis and Olson and Wilson were okay?
Simple, Joe. I did that because I don't want Kent or the police looking for the boys, yet.
Oh, I get it.
I want them to think they're all right, until they find them.
What do you mean, until they find them?
You see, Joe, I have a very special use for those two boys.
Yeah? Like what?
Well, within the next 24 hours, you're going to see hate sweep through Metropolis. Red-hot, murderous hate directed against all people of foreign ancestry in the city.
Wow.
Yes, Joe. This is the moment. Now, Joe, within 24 hours, you will see hate, murderous hate, rage through Metropolis like fire. And no youngster of foreign ancestry will be safe on the streets of the city.
Are you serious, Mr. Kirby?
You bet I am. You see, this is the moment the Knights of the White Carnation have been waiting for, Joe.
Look, you're going too fast for me, Mr. Kirby. I don't get it.
All right, listen. Now, we've already got a lot of high school kids furious with those two basketball players, Pulaski and Rizzuti, because they think they threw the championship game the other night, right?
Well, sure, that's right, but I don't...
You even managed to get a pretty good riot started, didn't you?
We sure did, but what's
well,
that...
now, Joe, such riots will take place in every school in Metropolis.
How do you figure to do that?
I intend to use the two spies you caught.
You mean Jim Olson and Jack Wilson?
That's right. They've got good American names, and Wilson is captain of the Metropolis High Team.
So?
So when Olson and Wilson disappear, and everyone is led to believe that foreign youngsters were responsible for their disappearance, we'll have the spark we need to set off citywide riots against foreigners. You see?
Well, yeah, but how are you going to make everybody think foreign kids are responsible?
I'll show you. Here, wait till I get my mask on again, Joe. Yeah. Now, bring in Jim Olson. Olson, I want you to phone in a little story to your newspaper, the Daily Planet.
Yeah? What kind of a story?
A story to the effect that you and Jack Wilson have uncovered evidence revealing that Metropolis High's Phil Kaplan and Michael Kelly were also paid off by gamblers to help Rizzuti and Pulaski throw the championship basketball game the other night.
Hey, what an idea.
Are you kidding?
Your story, Olson, must also say that you and Wilson will present your evidence to the district attorney in the morning.
That's all, huh?
That's all.
Well, get this, Mr. Mask Face. The only story I'll write is to repeat that Cass Pulaski and Tony Rizzuti didn't throw the game. And that tin-horn gambler who said they did lied. Also, that Phil Kaplan and Mickey Kelly weren't involved with any gamblers either.
Now, look here, Olson.
Furthermore, my story, when I write it, will say you guys deliberately framed Cass and Tony for the sole purpose of starting race trouble in our schools. Isn't that true?
He's a real bright boy, ain't he, Mr. K?
He certainly is, Joe. That's why I'm sure he'll see that it's to his advantage to do as I say.
Oh, yeah? I can see what you guys are up to. A story like that came
Now,
out.
Olson, be smart and do as I say. Pick up the phone and give that story to your newspaper.
Like fun, I will.
You will, all right.
That's what you think. Neither you nor anybody else can make me do a dirty thing like that.
Oh, no, we'll see about that.
No. I don't care. Break my arm. I won't do it.
You'll sing another tone in a minute, buddy.
I won't. Dirty hate spreaders. I don't care what you do to me, but I won't help you in your rotten
Let him
work.
go, Joe.
Just give me a couple more seconds.
Let him go, I said. Won't be any good to us if his arms are broken.
Well, okay. But how you going to make him phone in that store?
You can't make me.
I think we can, Olson. Listen carefully. You wouldn't want to see anything happen to your friend, Jack Wilson, would you?
What do you mean?
Now, the other night before the game, Pulaski and Rizzuti were beaten up, remember?
Sure. Joe here and Fargo, that big mug in the other room, beat them up. So they wouldn't be able to play well, and it would look as if they were throwing the game.
Yes. Well, those boys didn't get a very bad beating, Olson.
No?
They lived. You follow me?
Huh? No,
You see, Joe and Fargo are very skillful at that sort of thing. If they were to beat up Wilson now, and I neglected to tell them to go easy on him, Wilson might not live.
No might about it.
No, you wouldn't do it. You're just trying to scare me.
You think so? Joe, tell Fargo to bring the Wilson boy in here.
Yes, sir.
No, wait. You wouldn't do it.
Hey, Fargo, bring that Wilson punk in here. We're going to do a little job on it.
Okay, Joe. This I'm gonna like.
No, wait. You wouldn't dare. Wait. I'll do what you want.
I thought you would. Take him back, Fargo.
Anything you say.
Back we go, Wilson.
Close the door, Joe.
Okay.
All right, Olson, pick up the phone and give your story to the Daily Planet.
You mean now?
Naturally. I want it in the first edition tomorrow.
But it's night. The Planet is a daily paper.
I know all about that. There's a night man on duty to take stories and a night city editor. So quit stalling and phone in the story.
But wait a minute.
Now, go on, Olson. Pick up that phone.
Wait a minute. I can't dictate a story right off the top of my head. Anyhow, there are no rewrite men there at night, so if you want this in the first edition tomorrow, you'll have to let me write it up.
Very well. Shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes to write it up. You got a pen?
Yeah, but I haven't any paper.
Plenty over there in that desk. Now get busy.
Well, okay.
Boy, what an idea. I think I've got it all figured out, Mr. Kirby.
Quiet, you fool. Don't mention my name.
Why, he can't hear. After this story breaks in the Planet tomorrow, you come out with another story in your paper, The Blade, saying Olson and Wilson didn't show up at the DA's office because foreign kids grabbed them, right?
Exactly. Well, Olson, what's holding you up?
Take it easy, will you? I'm not a very fast rider.
You stalling.
I'll give you exactly 5 minutes, no more. Then you phone the story to the Planet, or it'll be the end of Jack Wilson.
With his forehead furrowed and taut, his perspiration beading his thin, freckled face, Jimmy Olsen sits at Joe McMillan's desk, composing his story for the Daily Planet, a desperate prayer propelling his laboring pen.
Gosh, only these hate rats don't catch on to what I'm going to say. And if only Mr. Kent is at the Planet tonight to see the story. It's gotta work. It's gotta. It's just gotta.
What does Jimmy mean? What desperate chance is he taking? We'll return in a moment for the 10th climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, I know you fellas in the gang don't want to let the girls get ahead of you in anything, and particularly when it comes to collecting comic buttons in that new series from Packages of Kellogg's Pet. So you better hop to it, because I've seen a good many young ladies wearing a good many comic buttons pinned to their jacket or dress. Look mighty keen, too. Yes, sir, these Pep comic buttons are so bright-colored and gleaming, you want to collect all 18 in that new series. You'll want Pat Patton and Tess Trueheart and Chief Brandon and Vitamin Flintheart, Judy and Corky, and all the rest. So hop to it, gang. Remind Mom to get you some Kellogg's Pep, because that's the only way you can get these comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. But you get these prizes along with some doggone swell eating in every package of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir, if you're hep to Pep, your breakfast bowl full of these sunny whole wheat flakes is a real treat. Pep tastes golden and good. So ask Mom to get P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. And say, gang, there's a special surprise coming up for you in a couple of days. Boy, oh boy, will you get a kick out of this one. Keep listening. I'll be telling you all about it soon.
As Jimmy Olsen labors over the story Vincent Kirby has commanded him to write for the Daily Planet, Clark Kent is at the office of his friend Candy Myers, the private detective, to whom he has just confided his fears.
See, Candy, the DA isn't convinced that Jim and Jack Wilson are in trouble, but I am. That phone call from a supposed storekeeper saying that the boys are okay sounded phony to me.
Why, Kent?
Because in the first place, he hung up too fast when I asked him where his store was.
Well, he might have been busy. Customers or something?
Well, maybe, but there's also this. The agent for the hate mongers, the fellow called Joe, came for Jim and Jack at the lunch wagon tonight instead of phoning them as he'd arranged to do. That makes me believe he suspected they might be spies.
Uh-oh. If he does, the boys are in trouble.
Sure they are. Now, I want you to put every man in your organization on the case at once, Candy. Never mind the expense, the Planet will pay you.
Ah, forget the pay. Jim's a friend of mine.
Well...
Also, I'll do anything I can to slap those hate rats behind bars.
Good.
What do we got to work on? What clues, I mean?
Well, not very much, I'll admit. Except we know what this fellow Joe looks like.
Yeah, tall, thin, pasty face. Nothing distinctive there.
Oh, I know. Then there's this handbill Joe passed out at Metropolis High. Did you look at it?
No printless label on it, Kent.
Oh.
Hard to trace. What else?
Well, just the white carnations.
Oh, you mean the flowers Joe gave Jim and Wilson?
That's right. Now, maybe if you can find the florist who sold the carnations to Joe, see, it's just possible that he buys a lot of them.
That's a sweet assignment, covering all the florists in town, especially at night.
Well, I'll help you cover them. We've got to act fast, Candy.
You don't have to tell me that. I'll call all my boys off any other case they're on and put them on this. Where'll you be, Kent?
Well, I'll keep in touch with you, Candy. And for heaven's sake, let's have some action now.
Kent and Candy Myers begin their desperate search for Jimmy Olsen and Jack Wilson. The night reporter in the almost deserted Daily Planet City room walks hurriedly to the night city editor's desk.
Hiya, Sam. Hey, took a look at this story Jim Olsen just phoned in.
Uh-oh. 2 other kids involved in the high school basketball scandal, eh?
Isn't that something?
It sure is. You say Jim phoned this in?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's funny. I thought Jim and Mr. Kent were positive those kids had been framed.
Guess they were mistaken.
Yeah. Jim say he was coming in?
Sure, he said to run the story exactly as is.
Okay. I'll put it in a box on page 1. If Jim calls in again, tell...
Between us, Candy Myers, his men, and I visited every florist shop that was open last night and drew blanks. Candy and his boys are covering the rest of them now.
What in the world are you talking about, Kent?
Those white carnations that the agitator, Joe, whatever his name is, gave Jim and Jack Wilson yesterday.
What about those white carnations?
Well, it's my hunch that the hate mob used them for identification purposes. I just thought if we could find a florist who's been selling white carnations to a man answering Joe's description, we could trace him and so find Jim and young Wilson.
Find them?
Uh-huh.
What for?
What do you mean, what for? You kidding?
Of course not. Jim and the Wilson boy are okay.
They are?
Well, of course they are.
Well, how do you know?
Holy cow. Don't you read your own paper,
I haven't had a chance to look at a paper this morning. What is it? Hurry up, Chief. Put me out of my misery.
Oh, here, read it for yourself.
See.
That box on page 1.
Uh-huh. 2 more high school players involved in basketball scandal. Kaplan and Kelly revealed as taking bribes by young Planet reporter. What the?
Terrible, isn't it?
Where did you get this story, Chief?
Why, Jim phoned it in last night.
Jim phoned it in?
Sure. That's how we knew he was okay. Apparently, he and Jack Wilson dug up the evidence and then...
But Jim couldn't have phoned this story.
I tell you he did.
It's impossible. None of those basketball players took bribes to throw the game. It was all a frame-up. Jim knew that, and so did Jack, so they couldn't
That's how much you know about it. Read the story.
But I tell
Print
you...
it exactly as Morgan the night man took it over the phone from Jim. Now, go on. Read it.
All right. Forfeiting honor for fortune. 4 basketball players are now involved in the forbidding scandal, which is raking high school athletics fore and aft and forcing attention on the most forlorn scene in 40 years. Say, Jim wrote that lead, Chief?
Yeah. Pretty flowery, isn't it? Sam Eller, who was on the city desk that night, wanted to rewrite it. But Murphy said he insisted that Jim wanted it to go just exactly as it is.
He did, eh?
Yes. Since it was a scoop for the kid, Sam decided to let it go. But I have to take Jim in hand and teach him how to write a decent lead.
Jim didn't write this story, Chief.
Well, why do you say that, Kent? I tell you, Morgan spoke to him. Don't you think Morgan knows Jim's voice by now?
Well, he ought to, but...
Well, he does.
Wait a minute. I'm getting an idea.
Well, if it's as bad as your last one's about this
wait.
basketball business, you just saved
Chief, wait, hold it. According to the rest of this story, Jim and Jack Wilson were to appear in the district attorney's office at 9 o'clock this morning and present their evidence against Kaplan and Kelly.
That's right, and they're probably there now.
I doubt it.
Oh, yeah? Well, call the DA and see for yourself.
Just what I'm going to do.
I'll take it.
Never mind, I'm right here. Hello, Clark Kent speaking. Oh, hello, Mr. Agnew. I was just going to call you.
At the DA?
Yes. Well, that's what I was going to call about. Are they there? They're not, eh?
Jim and Wilson aren't in his office?
No, Chief.
Well, what the...
Yes, I know it's 10 o'clock, but You did, eh? I see. No, they're not here, but I think I know what this is all about.
Now, listen, Ken.
Please, Chief, wait a minute. I'll be right over to explain, Mr. Agnew. Right. So long.
Well, if Jim isn't there, Kent, then where is he?
He's in the hands of the hate mob, of course. They must have made him phone in that story last night.
Made it?
Certainly. It's as plain as the nose on your face, Chief. Here, wait a minute. Look at Jim's story. Now, read his lead again. He couldn't have written a lead that badly unless he wanted to. And obviously he did want to because that lead is a code.
Are you serious?
Sure, look. He says, forfeiting honor for fortune, 4 basketball players are now formally involved in the forbidding scandal which is raking high school athletics fore and aft and forcing attention, etc., etc. You notice all those 4s?
Why, yes, but...
Well, I think that's Jim's code for the message in the story. The letter 4 for every 4th word.
Great Caesar.
Wait a minute. Let's try underlining every 4th word in the next paragraph like this, see? This morning, Jim Olsen of the Planet and Metropolis High Captain Jack Wilson will appear in the office of troubleshooting Frank Agnew. All right, read those underlined words, Chief.
Olsen and Jack in trouble.
Exactly.
Can't be. Well, that
underlining
must
every
mean...
4th word following, we get, let's see. We need help. Phony story. Do not print.
Great Caesar's ghost.
You see, Chief, those hate mongers are using Jim and our paper to frame 2 other innocent American boys, Kaplan and Kelly, whom they call foreigners, and in that way to create race trouble among our youngsters. That means Jim and Jack Wilson are in even more serious danger than I thought.
No, wait a minute, Kent, wait a minute. Maybe
It's
we're
no
just
use
coming...
kidding ourselves. Jim and Jack must know who the hate gang is now. And since that gang has committed murder, abduction, assault and battery, sedition, conspiracy, almost every rotten crime in the books, you don't think they're going to turn Jim and young Wilson loose to expose them, do you?
No, of course not. Well, just don't stand there, Kent. Do something. Do something.
Only I knew where to look.
Get the DA guy on the phone. Get Inspector Henderson. Get the FBI.
Now, wait a minute, Chief. Wait a minute.
Do something.
All right, let's not lose our head.
It's Jim's head that I'm worried about.
I know. Now, listen. The first thing to do is to rip Jim's story out of the planet before it can do any more damage.
Yes, of course. But Jim and the Wilson boy, if we only had a single clue to them...
We've got two clues. The white carnations and the rotten pamphlet the agitators passed out.
But you said those clues were blanks.
So far, yes, but they've got to pay off. Don't give up, Chief. We're not licked yet. See you later.
As Clark Kent leaves the Daily Planet to resume the search for Jimmy Olsen and Jack Wilson, the two boys are alone in a locked, windowless room in Joe McMillan's apartment, where we find Jimmy peering through the keyhole.
Millen just went out. How about Fargo? The big lug is still here. Getting some rope out of a closet. Rope? What for? Millen told him to tie us up, then take us down through the basement to the alley door where he'll have the car. Then they're going to take us up to some mountain lodge. Jeepers, what for? Can't you figure it out? We're supposed to show up at the DA's office this morning to present evidence against Phil Kaplan and Mickey Kelly. See? Well, we won't. So what happens then? Well, when we don't show up and just disappear, this dirty hate gang will say Kaplan, Kelly, Pulaski, and Rizzuti and their pals did something to us to keep us from testifying against them. The dirty rats. Yeah. Then this outfit will pass out more pamphlets that smear kids they call foreigners. That way they figure to start race riots all over the city. Jeepers, we've got to do something about that, Jim. I don't know what to do. Now, I was hoping Mr. Kent would see that story I phoned into the Planet last night, that he'd know the story was a phony. Guess he didn't see it in time. How do you know? Because McMillan was just on the phone to the big shot. You know, the guy with the mask. The one he calls Mr. K. And he was tickled when he heard the story came out in the Planet. Gee whiz, what are we going to do, Jim? I don't know. I don't want to go up in any mountains with these guys. We know too much, and... Well, I've got a hunch we might never come back. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Gosh, if we could only... Wait, Jack. Maybe this is our chance. What do you mean? Well, Fargo is all alone now. When he comes in here to tie us up, let's try to make a break for it. What? We wouldn't have a chance. Wait, he's strong as an ox. Would you rather just give up without a fight? No, of course not. Okay, then. Oh, wait. He's got the rope. He's coming to the door. He is? Yeah. Now, look, Jack. When he opens the door, I'll throw this chair at him, see? But gosh, Jim... He'll throw up his hands to block it. Then we make our break then. The door out of the apartment is straight across the living room. Okay, but if we fumble... Think about that. Get set, Jack. Here he comes.
Lifting the cheap kitchen chair, Jimmy Olsen braces himself. Jack Wilson gets set beside him as Fargo, the burly henchman of the hate-mongers, unlocks the door. What will happen? We'll be back in a moment to find out, so stand by.
You know, every once in a while, there seems to be a difference of opinion between the members of the gang. Lots of fellows and girls have a different idea of where is the best place to wear your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Some say that they look best pinned on your jacket or your dress. Others insist that they go better on your cap. But actually, gang, no matter where you wear them or how you use them, they're mighty smart looking. And these Pep comic buttons are so true to life. Tess Trueheart and Cindy and Superman and all the others look so real they could almost speak. And you know, to top it all, these prizes are so easy to get. You don't have to send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy them anywhere. But there's a comic button inside every package of Kellogg's Pep you open. And there's a load of mighty delicious eating in these golden toasted whole wheat flakes, too. Kellogg's Pep tastes so catchy and sunny that, well, your spoon just naturally keeps going right back for more. So ask Mom to get you plenty of P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. And now for that big news. Tomorrow's the day. Sure, tomorrow I'm going to tell you all about the terrific new collection Kellogg's Pep has for you and how to get started on it. So take it from me, it's a super duper. So be on hand tomorrow.
As we continue now, the burly Fargo opens the door of the room in which Jimmy Olsen and Jack Wilson are imprisoned. Then quickly, Jimmy heaves a chair at the man's head. What the?
Okay, Jack, come on. I'm with you, Jim.
Oh, no, you don't, you little punk.
Let go. He's got me, Jim.
You bet I've got
Let
you.
go of him, you rat. Run, Jim. You'll get away.
Come here, Olsen. Throw a chair at me, huh? I'll fix you, but good.
Jim, look out. He's got the chair. Grab his arm, Jack. No, don't, Fargo.
That'll show you, you little punk. Now try to get away.
Jim. Jim. Oh, golly. Oh, golly. Jim.
Never mind him, Wilson. Get up. You and me are going places.
Jim. He doesn't answer. He's dead.
I don't think so.
Jim's
But if
dead.
he is, he had it coming to him. Now get up
You
now.
killed him, Fargo.
Shut up.
You murdered him in cold blood. He never did anything to you, but you killed him.
Shut up, I said.
You'll pay for this. I'm going to get the police.
Wait
I'm
a minute.
Let go of
Where do
me.
you think you're going?
Go, you rotten hate murderer.
You're going to the police.
You bet. I'm going to get the police.
Dirty little spy. I'll fix you like a ghost.
Hey, what's going on here?
Let go of me.
Cut it out, you Archie. Cut it out, I said.
What for, Joe? Why don't you let me finish
Don't
him
be
right
a sap now. Let him go.
Okay.
Jim. Poor Jim.
Hey, what happened to Olsen?
Fargo killed him.
What's the matter with you, Fargo? Have you gone nuts?
He tried to get away, Joe. I didn't mean to knock him off.
But you did. You're a murderer. You're both murderers.
Shut up, Wilson. Now listen, Fargo.
I won't shut up. I'll holler. I'll get the police. Here, I'll get all
Shut
the
up.
police.
Cut it out.
Come right in the room and lock the door, Fargo.
Okay. Come on, Wilson. Come on. Now get in there. And remember, yell just once and that'll be all, brother.
Well, you messed this up good, Fargo. Kirby didn't want these kids rubbed out.
Well, Olsen asked for it. He was...
Hey, wait a minute. I think he's alive.
He is?
Yeah, his heart's beating. But he's in pretty bad shape. You must have given him an awful clout.
I guess I did. What do we do with him?
Kirby wants us to take both kids up to his lodge in the mountains and keep him there while he spreads the word around that foreign kids grabbed him.
That's too risky. I mean, now, because if Olsen fades out and we're caught with him, it'll be curtains.
I know, but we gotta do what Kirby says. Now, where's that rope?
That's around someplace. But listen...
Stop talking and get that rope. We gotta work fast. Hurry. Hello, Clark Kent speaking.
Kent, this is Bill Jackson, one of Candy Meyer's operators.
Oh, yes, Jackson. What's up?
I think I found the flower shop where that guy Joe buys his white carnations.
You did?
Yeah. The florist recognized the guy when I described him. He doesn't know where he lives, though.
Uh-oh.
But he thinks his delivery boy might. We're waiting for the kid to come back from a delivery now.
Good. Where is this shop?
On 2nd and Maple. Smythe's florist shop.
I'll be there in 2 seconds, Jackson. These clothes. This is a job for Superman. Now, if only I'm not too late to help Jim and Jack Wilson. There, all set. Up with this window. Now, out to that florist shop. Up and away! Hello, Jackson. Huh? That delivery boy get back yet?
But, holy Jemima, Kent, how did you get here so soon?
Well, never mind that. How about the delivery boy?
But I just talked to you on the phone.
Will you
How did
stop wasting time? Where's that delivery boy?
He's not back yet.
Oh?
Oh, but here comes the florist, Mr. Smythe. I want you to hear what he has to say.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Smythe, this is Mr. Kent. You know, the Daily Planet reporter I told you about.
Yes, how do you do, Mr. Kent?
How do you do, Mr. Smythe? Jackson here tells me you've been selling white carnations to a man we're very eager to find.
Well, a certain man has been buying quite a few white carnations from me lately. He never buys any other kind of flower. But I don't know...
I wonder if you'd describe him for me.
Well, he's a tall, thin man, about 30, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
Sallow complexion and rather strange eyes. Small and glittery.
That's our man, Kent.
Yes, it certainly sounds as if it might be. Do you know his name, Mr. Smythe?
No, I don't, although I seem to recall that another man who came in with him once or twice called him Joe.
Joe? He is our man. Look, Mr. Smythe, I understand your delivery boy knows where he lives.
I think he may know because about a week ago this man came in to purchase some white carnations, and he asked me if my delivery boy, Robert, could run a small errand for him.
I see.
He's quite a good customer, and since Robert wasn't busy at the moment, I said, oh, here's Robert now.
Good.
Come here, please, Robert.
Yes, Mr. Smythe?
Look, Robert, Mr. Smythe tells us that a few days ago you took a package to the post office for one of Mr. Smythe's customers.
I did? Yes, a tall, thin man with a pasty face and small, glittering eyes. He comes in here frequently to buy white carnations, remember?
Oh, him. Yeah, I remember.
Well, listen, do you recall where he lives?
Sure, about 3 blocks up 2nd Street. He's got an apartment over Barron's Pool Hall.
Now you're talking. Which apartment, Robert?
Well, there's only one, Mr. Kent.
Good boy, Robert. Thanks a lot. Let's go, Jackson. Here's
the door, Kent. I'll ring.
Never mind. Look out, Jackson.
What are you going to do?
Break this door open.
Oh, wait. Look out, Kent. You can... Holy Jemima, you did it.
Yes, but just as I thought nobody's here, we were too late, Jackson. They've left with the boys.
Now, take it easy. We don't know for sure that Jim and the Wilson boy were here.
Oh, yes, they were. Look.
What?
This hat. It's Jim's.
Are you sure?
Yes. See, his initials, J.O., are on the inside band.
Yep, you're right, Kent.
I know I am. But heaven only knows where they are now or what's happened to them. I'm stumped, Jackson. Now I'm really worried.
Holding Jim Olsen's hat in his hand, Clark Kent realizes that the only clue he had to his young friends has paid off, but too late. What will he do now? We'll return in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Attention, fellas. Here's where I tell you all about the swell new collection you can start. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, has a super-duper keychain for you. Sure, a big silver-like He-Man chain that you'll be proud to wear. And there are 12 nifty lucky pieces you can attach to the chain. Now, here's how you get started on this wonderful collection. For the keychain only, send 1 box top from Super Delicious Pep and 15 cents, that's a dime and a nickel, to Superman, Department 1R, Battle Creek, Michigan. Then there were 12 lucky pieces you can start collecting. You know, nifty small-scale models of a locomotive, a football, a skull and crossbones, a trolley car, a skate, and a Scotty dog, among others. Now, this is a get-acquainted offer, and so in the package, when you receive your first order, you'll find a printed slip with the names and pictures of all the 12 lucky pieces on it. I bet you when you see them, you'll want to keep ordering until your collection is complete. Now, here's how you get the lucky pieces. For each one, send 1 Pep box top and a dime, plus the names of the lucky pieces you want to Superman, Department 1R, Battle Creek, Michigan. That's 1 dime and 1 Pep box top for each of the lucky pieces you want. And for the keychain, send 15 cents. That's a dime and a nickel and 1 Pep box top. Remember, fellas, print your name clearly on your order when you send it in, and be sure that you have the address right. Send your letters to Superman, Department 1R, Battle Creek, Michigan.
As Clark Kent is momentarily stymied in Joe McMillan's apartment, the thin, pasty-faced agent for the Knights of the White Carnation is driving a station wagon along a country highway leading into the Blue Hills. Beside him sits Fargo. Behind, under a canvas tarpaulin, lie the unconscious Jimmy Olsen and Jack Wilson, who was bound and gagged.
I think maybe you're right, Fargo. We're sitting on a keg of dynamite.
Sure we are, Joe. If this Olsen kid dies and we're caught with him, we'll give the chair.
Yeah. I don't like this setup, not at all.
And why don't you listen to me, Joe? Let's finish the kids and dump them someplace. Then we can make a clean getaway.
Oh, yeah? What about Vincent Kirby? He's a dangerous baby to cross, and you know it.
So what? Will he help us out if we get caught with these kids?
Oh, no, not him. I'm afraid he'd say he never saw us before.
Sure he would. He don't care about us except to do his dirty work for him. He's always awful careful to keep his own nose clean when there's a job to do.
Yeah. Nobody can prove he told me to knock that millionaire Canfield or to frame those basketball players or anything else.
You see, that's what I mean. We gotta think of our own skins.
I think you're right, Fargo. Look, I tell you what.
Yeah, what?
Kirby is going to check with me at the lodge in an hour, either in person or by phone, see?
Yeah?
Well, right after that, today, we'll finish Olsen and the Wilson kid, like you suggested. And then we'll scram.
Now you're talking, Joe. Now you're talking.
Sealing the fate of Jimmy Olsen and Jack Wilson, the murderous agents for the hate-mongering Knights of the White Carnation head into the hills. Meanwhile, having fruitlessly searched Joe McMillan's apartment, Clark Kent, accompanied by Private Detective Jackson, has suddenly stopped short at the doorway of the small windowless room in which Jimmy and Jack had been held prisoner.
Wait, Jackson. Stay where you are.
What's the matter, Kent?
Look over there on the floor.
I don't see any.
In the corner, don't you see those flower petals?
Oh, what about them?
They're the petals of white carnations, and I think they've been arranged to give us some kind of a message.
A message?
Yes. Don't you notice how they seem to follow a definite pattern?
Yes, but I don't know, Kent.
Jim or Jack must have left this as a message for us. Probably a clue to where they're being taken.
It could be. Let's see.
Wait a minute. Don't move, Jackson. And don't talk. Just think. If we can figure this out, I think we'll have the answer to where the boys are. These carnation petals couldn't have just fallen this way, Jackson. They're arranged in a definite pattern. See? An indented line moving upwards.
Now that you mention it, Kent, it does look as if somebody laid them out that way.
Mm-hmm.
But who and why?
I think either Jim or Jack Wilson did it to tell us where they are. Now, if we can just figure it out.
Let's see. I can't make anything out of it.
Oh, wait a minute, Jackson. I think I've got it.
Now, what's your guess?
Look, notice how the line keeps going up, then dipping, then going up again?
Uh-huh.
Well, that could indicate a series of hills.
Hills?
Yes, or even mountains. Some of these peaks are pretty tall. Boys might have tried to tell us that the hate-mongers took them into the hills somewhere or up in the mountains.
Say, maybe you're right, Kent. Oh, but where does that get us? There are a lot of hills around Metropolis, you know.
Yes, but it won't take me long to search them. Now, listen.
It won't take you long.
Huh?
What do you think you are?
Well, Skip, we've no time to waste. You contact the district attorney and the state police. Tell them what we know and to move fast. I'll see you later.
Oh, but wait, Kent. Where are you going?
Be surprised, brother. Get busy now. I think we're headed for the payoff.
Hurrying from Joe McMillan's apartment, Clark Kent stops in a deserted alleyway and swiftly resumes his true identity of Superman. Then, up and away! Leaping high above the great city, the Man of Steel streaks away through the late afternoon skies to begin his search among the small hills across the Metropolis River. For an hour he searches there, ranging and darting above the wooded crests like some giant hawk. And then, failing to find any sign of his quarry, he veers and rockets away through the gathering twilight to the range of mountains 50 miles away, known as the Blue Hills. Meanwhile, in the huge beam-ceilinged living room of Vincent Kirby's magnificent lodge, situated on a flat shelf of rock beneath a towering peak in the Blue Hills, Joe McMillan, the sallow, glittering-eyed agitator and killer for the Knights of the White Carnation, completes a phone call. He turns to face Fargo, his beefy, heavy-shouldered companion.
Get this, Fargo. Kirby wants us to play nursemaid to Olson and Jack Wilson up here while he spreads the word that foreigner kids grab him. That's how he figures to stir up race riots in the schools.
Yeah, him and his race riots. What about us? Supposing the Olson kid kicks off and we're caught up here with him. Then what?
Don't worry. We're not going to get caught up here or any place else with those kids.
Now you're talking, Joe. What are we going to do?
We're going to play safe, that's what. Only Kirby and the two kids know we snatched them. Kirby won't dare open his face, and we'll make sure Olson and Wilson can't.
You mean we get rid of the kids like I wanted to all along?
You bet we do, Fargo. We'll take them out in the woods right now and make sure they stay there. Then we'll put a lot of distance between us and Vincent Kirby. Come on, get that Wilson kid and let's go to work.
This Olson kid is getting heavy, Joe. How much further are we going?
Just a little way, Fargo, to a spot I know where the woods are thicker. I don't want anybody to find these kids for a long while.
What do you mean? What are you going to do to us?
You'll find out soon enough, Wilson. Won't he, Joe?
Yeah. Stay on the path, sonny boy, or I'll tie up your legs, too, and drag you.
Okay. Listen, you oughtn't to be carrying Jim like this. He's unconscious. He needs a doctor.
He won't need a doctor where he's going.
What do you mean?
Here's where you find out. This is far enough, Fargo.
Okay.
Now, look, you better...
Shut up. Drop Olson, Fargo.
That'll be a pleasure.
Be careful, you stupid lug. Jim's hurt.
Ain't that too bad?
Okay, let's get it over with. You put a slug on Olson. I'll take care of Wilson.
Right.
No, don't. Oh, wait, put those guns down.
That's it, Fargo. 1, 2.
Hey, what the...
Well, looks as if I got here just in time. I'll take those guns.
Let go.
Holy cow, Superman.
Let him have it, Joe. I'll fix his Clark.
Oh, you want to play like that, eh? Okay, sweet dreams to you.
Oh.
And to you.
Oh.
Boy, what a haymaker. Listen, Superman.
Yes?
Did you find those carnation petals I left in Joe's apartment?
That's right, Jack. What happened to Jim here?
Oh, Fargo hit him on the head with a chair.
What?
Poor guy's been unconscious most of the time since.
Uh-oh, we've got to get him to a doctor in a hurry. Up with him. There. Now, get under my other arm, Jack.
Okay.
All set?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Up and away! Jim will be all right, Doctor?
Yes, I'm quite sure he will, Mr. Kent.
Oh, that's fine.
Of course, he'll have to remain in the hospital for a little while.
Oh, sure.
In a week or two, he should be as good as new.
Oh, is that a relief?
By the way, Mr. Kent, the nurse tells me that Mr. Agnew, the district attorney, is waiting for you downstairs.
Oh.
He says it's very important.
Yes, I know. I'll join him at once. Doctor, please give my regards to Jim, will you? And tell him I'll be in to see him as soon as he can receive visitors.
Yes, I'll be glad to do that, Mr. Kent.
Thanks loads, Doctor. Goodbye. Look, I think I know what you're going to tell me, Mr. Agnew.
You can't possibly know, Kent, because nobody knows this except Superman and myself.
Really? Superman, eh?
That's right. But since you've been so valuable to the police on this case, I'm going to give you a break and let you be in on the killing.
Well, swell, thanks.
Okay, now get this. The two fellows Superman caught, Joe McMillan and Fargo, talked to me and Superman, and they told
that
us...
Vincent Kirby, a member of one of the oldest and most aristocratic families in Metropolis, is the leader of the hate-mongers who call themselves the Knights of the White Carnation.
What the... Now, wait
And that Kirby ordered the murder of Charles Canfield, the millionaire, because Canfield was going to expose them. Furthermore, Kirby framed the high school basketball players on false gambling charges and arranged the abduction of Jim Olsen and Jack Wilson in order to stir up race hatred and riots among the youngsters of the city. Is that the story?
Yes, but how in thunder did you know, Kent?
That would be telling. I gather that we move in on Kirby now, huh?
You said it.
Gee, I can hardly wait.
Okay, then, let's go.
What will happen when Clark Kent and the district attorney confront Vincent Kirby? We'll be back in a moment to find out, so stand by.
Well, girls, it's time for you now. Yes, here are all the details of that wonderful collection Kellogg's Pep has for you. It's a shiny, silver-like charm bracelet and 12 different charms to go with it. Some of the best-looking things you ever saw. Now, here's how you get them. Have you got a pencil and paper handy? Okay. For the bracelet only, you send one box top from Super Delicious Pep and 10 cents, that's a dime in cash, to Superman, Department 1R, Battle Creek, Michigan. That's for the bracelet only. And now we come to the charms, and there were 12 all terrific. Nifty small-scale models of a piano, and a cuckoo clock, and binoculars, a Scotty dog, and a violin, and a telephone, among others. Now, if you didn't get to writing them all down, that's okay, because, you see, this is a get-acquainted offer. And so in the package with your first order, you'll find a printed slip with the names and pictures of all the 12 charms. And you can keep ordering them till your collection is complete. Now, here's how to get started on your charm collection. For each of the charms, send one box top from Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, and 1 dime, plus the names of the charms you want, to Superman, Department 1R, Battle Creek, Michigan. That's 1 dime and 1 Pep box top for each of the charms, and 1 dime and 1 Pep box top for the charm bracelet. Just remember, gang, to print your name and address very clearly, and send your order to Superman, Department 1R, Battle Creek, Michigan. Now get busy. See who can be the first to have the complete collection.
Accompanied by a dozen plainclothes detectives, District Attorney Frank Agnew has driven Clark Kent to the home of Vincent Kirby. There, as the detectives post themselves in the darkness outside Kirby's imposing stone mansion, Agnew rings the bell. And when the butler opens the door, he is seized and taken away before an outcry can be raised. Then the DA leads Kent quietly across the lofty flagstone foyer to a closed oaken door, in front of which he stops.
Be very quiet, Kent. Meeting of the Knights of the White Carnation is going on now, here in Kirby's library.
Oh, I see.
Wait, I'll open the door a crack so we can see without being seen.
Slowly and carefully he turns the doorknob, and the heavy door moves inward an inch or two on silent hinges.
Oh, great Scott! There's Burton Wood. And Martin Hart. And Phineas Cameron and George Adams, all important men. Each one as big as Vincent Kirby.
Right.
Wait. Kirby's standing up. He's going to talk. Oh.
Knights of the White Carnation, the moment we've been waiting for is now at hand. As you know, the entire city of Metropolis is stirred up over the disappearance of Jim Olsen and young Jack Wilson. Tomorrow, my newspaper, the Daily Blade, will say that evidence points to Olsen and Wilson having been abducted by the foreign-named basketball players at Metropolis High School in order to prevent the two boys from testifying against the players mentioned in regards to bribery charges.
Hear that, Kent?
Yes, are these babies going to be surprised?
At the same
how?
time, pamphlets which have already been prepared will be distributed outside every school in the city, reprinting our story and urging the students to act now against all boys and girls with foreign-sounding names like Rizzuti and Pulaski and Kaplan.
By the dirty rats, Mr. Agnew.
I can promise you, gentlemen, that by this time tomorrow, foreign blood will run in the streets, and no youngster of foreign ancestry will be safe outside his home.
That's the way to do it. I've heard enough, Kent. Let's go in. I'm with you.
Don't move, Mr. District Attorney.
What in the...
Or you either, Mr. Kent.
Well, you can't.
I have a gun pointed at each of your backs. Just make one move, and these guns go off.
Well, if it isn't my old friend, the district attorney.
Tell your stooge to put his guns down, Kirby.
I think not, Agnew. Who is this other fool with you?
My name is Clark Kent, Mr. Kirby.
Clark Kent, eh?
Yes.
Well, I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. You know, you've been making rather a nuisance of yourself, Mr. Kent.
Really? Well, listen, Mr. Kirby.
Hold it, Kent. You listen to me, Kirby. We know all about you and your rotten Knights of the White Carnation.
Really?
Yes. We know you had Charles Canfield murdered because he was going to expose you. And we know that you framed those high school basketball players on gambling charges in order to spread race hatred in our schools.
You seem to know a great deal, Agnew. Too much, in fact.
Now tell your gorilla to put his guns down, because for your information, my men have your house surrounded.
So I understand. I suggest that you tell them you made a mistake and send them away.
Fat chance.
What do you take me for, a fool?
Look here, Agnew. You think you're going to take me, Vincent Kirby, to jail like a common criminal? I'll send your men away, I tell you, and then...
Then you'll take care of us, is that it?
Yes, of you and of all who dare to stand in my way.
Holy smokes, this guy is crazy, Kent.
Of course he is. Better do as he says, Mr. Agnew. What? Send your men away and leave this to me.
Agnew, this is your last chance. Will you send them away?
No. Please, Mr. Agnew.
All right, Craig, shoot them.
Not today, Kirby.
As Vincent Kirby shouts his hysterical order to shoot, Clark Kent raises his foot and crashes it down with all his superhuman strength, opening a great gaping hole in the floor into which he, District Attorney Agnew, Kirby, and the gunman fall. Down into the dark basement they plunge wildly as Kent, working with the speed of light, resumes his true identity of Superman. Reaching the floor first, he breaks Agnew's fall.
What happened? Kent, where are you?
Kent's okay, Mr. Agnew, and everything's under control. I'm taking over now.
What happened?
Who are you? I can't see you.
Superman.
Superman, let me out of here.
I'll cool Mr. Kirby off for you like this. That'll hold him until you get him to headquarters.
Wait, there was another one, the gunman.
The fall knocked him out. All right, let's go up for those other white carnation rats, and your men can take over from there. Up we go. Up!
This is your Daily Planet news reporter bringing you the latest news of the day. Vincent Kirby, prominent businessman, and 6 other well-known metropolis citizens were captured today by District Attorney Agnew in a raid on Kirby's home. Kirby and his cohorts, now lodged in the city jail, are accused by the District Attorney of murder, abduction, and conspiracy to spread race hatred and violence in the city's schools, and are scheduled for trial early next week.
Vincent Kirby, stand up. You've heard the verdict of the jury, finding you guilty on the 3 counts of murder, abduction, and conspiracy to incite riots. Have you anything to say?
It's not true. I was only trying to purify America, to make it free of foreigners.
In doing what you did, Kirby, you committed crimes not only against humanity, but also against American democracy. Only the bigot and the demagogue, the creature whose own mind and heart is twisted and poisoned, stoops to such practices in order to corrupt his countrymen. He's like a vicious rattlesnake.
But I didn't attack my countrymen, Your Honor. My attack was against foreigners.
A foreigner, Mr. Kirby, deems a citizen of another country. High school basketball players you framed on false bribery charges are not citizens of another country.
I made a mistake.
You, Kirby, made the fatal mistake of giving way to blind, unreasonable hatred. You fed your desire for power by discriminating against minorities. And you used your money and influence to corrupt, to murder, to become a traitor to your country. Vincent Kirby, justice will be well served when I, with the power vested in me by this state, sentence you and your accomplices to die in the electric chair for the crime of murder.
Here's the story, Chief. Vincent Kirby and his two agents, Joe McMillan and Fargo, got death sentences.
And, well, they deserved it, too.
And the other members of the White Carnation got 20 years each.
Good, good. Well, what about the other character, Lois, the chairman of the school board?
Mr. Mortimer?
Oh, he's out of a job, Chief, for playing into Kirby's filthy hands.
Swell. Now, don't forget that when you're writing the story.
Oh, I didn't forget it, Chief. It's already in my story.
And that gambler, the one Kirby paid to testify he bribed the high school basketball players?
Got 5 years.
Fine. Well, that washes the whole thing up. Now, will you both please forget the Kirby story for a moment and listen to me? Something very important has just come up.
Really?
What is it, Chief?
Well, here it is. Now, you two remember Hobie Taylor, don't you?
Hobie Taylor?
Oh, yes, he was one of our foreign correspondents.
Oh, that's right. Say, didn't he die a year or two ago?
He didn't just die, Lois.
What?
What do you mean he didn't just die?
I mean he was murdered.
Murdered?
Yes, he was murdered in Sweden just before the war ended by Nazi Gestapo men.
Good heavens.
Why, Chief?
He was killed to prevent him from releasing a story he'd been following for months. A story he assured me would affect the future of the whole world after the war ended.
No kidding.
Great Scott, why have you kept this secret?
Because I didn't want to take a chance of endangering Bucky.
Who's he?
Who's that?
Well, Bucky is Hobie's young son. A fine little fellow who I met a couple of times in Europe. You see, Mrs. Taylor had died many years ago, so Hobie took the boy with him wherever he went.
And now he has no father or mother.
Poor kid. How old is he, Chief?
Let's see. He'd be about 13 now, I think.
I see. But look, Chief, what was this story Hobie had?
Well, frankly, even I don't know what the story was, because Hobie was shot just as he was about to give it to me over the transatlantic telephone.
Uh-oh.
Good grief.
But from something he said before, I'm quite sure that his son Bucky knows at least something about it.
Well, but, Chief, why didn't you send for the boy right away? I mean, as soon as Hobie was...
Well, for the simple reason that Bucky disappeared immediately after his father's death.
I see.
And it wasn't until a couple of months ago that I was able to trace him through the Displaced Persons Bureau, who found that he'd been taken to a German concentration camp.
A 13-year-old youngster.
That's right.
Well, he wasn't the only youngster in a German concentration camp, Lois, but go on, Chief. What then?
Well, the boy had managed to escape from the camp and wandered over half of Europe dodging the Nazis.
Sounds like a game kid.
Yes. Well, I made arrangements to have him sent over here immediately, of course, and he's arriving today on the Nautilus.
Today?
Yes, within an hour. Now, naturally, I'm very happy about that, and I'm going to do all I can to provide a good home for him.
Sure,
and I'm also hoping that he can give us more of the big story that his father died for.
Uh-huh.
So you two get right down to the pier. Pick up Bucky and bring him here.
Okay.
I'll run out and buy some things for him and have a big welcome ready.
Right.
Go on. Get started.
Practically all the passengers have already left the ship, Clark. But where's Bucky Taylor?
Can't imagine, Lois. We have to clear through this customs gate. We couldn't have missed him.
Oh, of course we couldn't. Look, the crew is leaving the ship now. That means all the passengers are off. What do you suppose is wrong?
I don't know. Look, here comes the ship's officer. Let's ask him.
All right, Clark.
Pardon me.
Yes, sir?
We're looking for one of the passengers, a young boy named Bucky Taylor. We were wondering if you could help us...
Bucky Taylor, did you say, sir?
Yes, that's right.
We know he was on this ship, and we couldn't have missed him. We were here when the Nautilus docked.
You're friends of his, are you?
Oh,
certainly
yes,
are.
very good
Then
friends.
I'd advise you to speak to Captain Barker.
Captain Barker?
Why? What's wrong?
Well, there's quite a bit wrong, sir, but I'm not at liberty to discuss it. You'll have to see the captain.
Puzzled and alarmed, Clark Kent and Lois Lane start up the gangplank of the Nautilus to interview the captain. What is wrong? We'll be back in a moment with the startling climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Hey, you ready, fellas? Here we go with the details of that He-Man special collection I was talking about a few minutes ago. It's a humdinger, believe you me. Now, for you fellas, Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, has a big silver-like keychain that you'll be proud to wear. And there are 12 nifty lucky pieces you can attach to it. And in the package, when you receive your first order, you'll find a printed slip with names and pictures of all the 12 lucky pieces on it. Now, here's how you can get the lucky pieces. For each one, send one Pep box top and one dime, plus the names of the lucky pieces you want to Superman, Department 1R, Battle Creek, Michigan. And remember, gang, print your names and your addresses very plainly on your order and send it to Superman, Department 1R, Battle Creek, Michigan.
When young Bucky Taylor failed to disembark from the liner Nautilus, Clark Kent and Lois Lane were advised by a ship's officer to see Captain Barker. We join them now in the captain's quarters.
Why were we told to come to your quarters, Captain Barker. Why is everyone so mysterious? What's happened to Bucky Taylor?
Take it easy, Lois. Apparently something serious has occurred.
You're quite right, Mr. Kent. Something most serious has occurred since this boy, young Taylor, came aboard my ship at Plymouth.
Yes, well?
Where is he now?
I don't know, Miss Lane.
What?
You don't know?
No, Mr. Kent. You see, Bucky Taylor has disappeared.
Shocked, utterly speechless for a moment, Clark Kent and Lois Lane stare at the grave-faced captain who has just said that Bucky Taylor has disappeared from the giant ocean liner. How could the boy have disappeared? What has happened to the youngster who is supposedly in possession of a story of world-shaking importance? A story for which his father was murdered. We'll learn more tomorrow when Superman goes into action on one of the most exciting and mysterious adventures of his career. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.